Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Starbase Weekly, the RGV aerial deep dive into images he captured from the ground and air in Boca Chica, Texas. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
And welcome everybody. It is me, Indian Star, not RGV, excuse me. I just wanted to welcome you all. RGV is actually off to an event, so you'll have Zach, myself, you'll have Jeff, I'm sorry, not Jeff, you'll have Thomas, and you'll have Grandpa Joe. So with that, let me hand it over to Grandpa Joe.
Thanks, Indian Star. Hey, so Charlie let me out of the chocolate factory. I figured I'd come hang out with y'all and talk about rockets. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you. Glad to be here yet again. It'll be a great week. We have so much to go over. Passing it off to you, Zach.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Saturday stream. I guess the last few have been on Sundays, but we are back on our normal schedule, and glad to be here with you guys. Sorry for missing last week. Had spent some time down in Starbase, like a full week or 2 weeks almost actually. So just finally getting back to normal life now, and happy to be here. Glad Mauricio keeps getting these amazing flyover opportunities that keep happening during testing events. So we have tons of great images from the almost static fire from last week. We got close. We got close. Yeah, I mean, as you guys can see, just in this first image right here, the pad was super clear, waiting for that. Matter of fact, let's just show one more image of it really quick. Yeah, I mean, it seemed pretty clear to me that they were prepared for this static fire. There's pretty much nothing around anywhere near on site that's not protected by this tower. So unfortunately, that ended up not happening. But I guess it depends on who you are. I was kind of glad it didn't happen, but it would have still been nice to see. So we will touch on that a little bit later in the show today, though. And as Indy mentioned, Mauricio is not with us today, but luckily we still have some photos to go through. And we have both aerials and ground. So we will try to integrate both of those in together as always. So with that, I guess we'll start off the show where we normally do over at the Massey site. But before we do that, you guys have any notable news mentions that you want to discuss this week? as far as activities at Starbase or
I'd like
You
to.
know, it was such a quiet week. No, go ahead.
No, no, please. I was just going to shout out some donations that we got since we're talking about shout outs. We do have a couple of donations that have already come in because people are so generous. We have a donation for $10 from James Wilson, who said, "First, let's go." Then we have a $5 donation from Jim Cavett, who says, "Hi, y'all." And Starbase FR, our little French friend, has become an RGV flight supporter here in YouTube. Thank you all. Welcome, Starbase FR, and please continue, GPJ.
Woo-woo. So yeah, and look, the weeks are running together, but in recent time, let's see, 24's come down. We've had the spin prime of booster 7, ship 25 got moved back. I mean, an engine came out. I'm sorry. Now I'm trying to remember. There's so many ships moving around. I'm trying to remember where they all are. Luckily, Mauricio's taken a lot of pictures, so we can see in just a minute. But yeah, ships are coming down, moving around, and I know an engine just got replaced out of 24, so plenty of progress.
yeah, it was a busy week for sure. We have tons of updates. In my opinion, there's more than normal, even though we're kind of sitting around waiting for, you know, well, number one, we're waiting for, I believe, probably a 15 to 16 engine Satisfier test, followed by 33 engine test, and then full stack testing, and obviously orbital flight. But even before that, I think one of the most major announcements, minus the plans for 33 engine static fire, would be SpaceX actually receiving a launch license. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens very shortly after the 33 engine static fire. But for me right now, that's the moment I'm looking forward to most. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are probably in the same boat as well too. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like every day we're getting a little bit closer. Um, I think we'll discuss some of the ins and outs of that as we go on throughout the show. For now, we are starting off at the Massey site, and I'm glad that we started doing this because it used to be pretty boring, but now this is definitely a very large area of interest. So we stuck to our guns and we keep covering Massies, and sure enough, something will start happening there. And yeah, as you guys can see, we have a lot happening over at Massey's. So the last time we checked this out, all we had was 2 tanks over here, and I'm using this blurry, not blurry, but
Cloudy.
a cloudy image on purpose because it does a good job of showing um, a 5th tank down here parked on the side of the road. I'm guessing the lunch break collided with getting the extra 300 meters to the
Don't
storage spot. So
don't get in between a man and his lunch down there.
yeah, well, sometimes
But
you don't want to have to a lot of times things are like hour based. So if anybody has any experience in like the trucking industry or just being a trucker in general, typically you're keeping logs of your hours. So if you start to approach like your your limit of driving for the day, then you have to like usually take a 10-hour break. And occasionally, if you max out your hours for the whole week, then you have to take, I think it's 12. So it really depends on the state. Every state has different rules, I believe. Um, but I highly doubt that's the situation here because these are just coming from the port. So I think they just didn't have space to, they didn't know where they wanted to sit it right now, or they're still clearing the area where it will go. But
I kind of see there's 4 pedestals just to the left of those 2 tanks. You think it's going to end up there? It looks like it matches up pretty nicely.
yeah, so we have this one matches with these tanks, and then um, I don't know why I just went to the thumbnail view. Like, there's only 8 pictures of Massey's. I don't think that's necessary. So let me swap to one that where we can see the pedestal. Oh, well, maybe it
That's
was
even
necessary.
worse.
We don't have pictures from that back side right now, so this front one may actually be the best to show it.
And the top, the last picture all the way to the right may also work. But yeah, there you go. That one's perfect. You can
Yeah,
see the 4 pedestals.
4
Uh,
pedestals, and these are the smooth tanks, so they kind of match up with um, the one down here versus the ribbed tanks. And honestly, I'm not really sure what the difference between the ribbed and the normal ones are. What do you, Thomas? Thomas, do you have any ideas on this?
Well, it'd be for the structural elements on the outside, so it can hold probably more for the ones that are ribbed.
More like internal pressure.
Just more pressure, or basically just more volume as well. Depends on how thick the lining is. So if your lining is thinner for your R value, meaning your thermal resistance, you can basically do thinner tanks, but the walls themselves are basically held together with the ribbing on the outside.
Right.
You also have to consider insulation and heat transfer needs. With ribs, if they're on the outside, then that's the only tank there. It's not like a double hulled vessel. So you wouldn't put it on the external shell. You would have to put it on the internal. So those, if they are cryogenic, are gonna leak like a sieve. They're gonna they're gonna take heat in and let all the cold out.
Yeah,
So-
if you're talking about acting as if they're the fins of a computer or something like that, it's able to exchange heat
Right.
because it has more surface area.
The fins of a computer?
Well, like on a CPU,
Heat sink
heat
or
sinks
ra-
have,
a radiator.
yeah,
Gotcha.
anything that has a larger surface area will be able to transfer heat a lot quicker. And so this would actually transfer heat into it because it has more surface area, more that it can actually transfer into the tanks. But it kind of is counteracted by the fact that they have some insulation on the inside of these tanks. They always have at least 2 tanks for a cryogenics like this, except for Starship, which is single hull.
Also, delivery vehicles, I think those tend to be fairly exothermic.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to kind of touch on with this is um, I'm sitting here searching for McGregor testing site, and all I got was pictures of Conor McGregor when I looked that up. So let me swap over really quick.
Same thing.
Before you swap over, there was a question from Crane Man. He's asking, are those 2 tanks from pad 39A, the ones at Massey's, the 2 that we were looking at?
Yes.
Yeah. All 3 of these are from Massey's. Well, actually, let me double check that. Yeah. So there's 3 here right now. These came from 39A, and then there is another one that came from the Sanchez site. So Mauricio did this flyover on Thursday, and so this was here. This was still here during the flyover, but the next day, or I think later this day. Oh yeah, you can see the SPMT right here. They came and moved this tank as well to Sanchez. So there are now 6 tanks over at Sanchez, which kind of feeds into my next question. So you have 3 of one kind, 3 of another kind. To me, they actually, and maybe you might be right, Thomas, that they are the
All
same
3
size. And let me swap over this image you just pulled up.
Yeah, so all 3 are the same this is Fairy Alfaz, Fairy Faz on Twitter. She's done some great photos. We showed this one last week, but you can see this tank is, in comparison, the middle is just slightly bigger than the other 2.
Okay.
But these are all from down at 39A.
So that means we have 3 slightly larger tanks and 3 slightly smaller tanks in here now, which is super interesting. I mean, we can already tell that one of them's going to go here. They haven't started clearing the area necessarily for the next 3, but if this is a Raptor testing facility, I guess is my question. Like, this must be a large one, considering when you look at the pictures, and this is probably an old one of McGregor. I can't really get too deep into this. I can't pull this into another image, or maybe I can. No. Okay, there we go. So this one is from 2015, but I think that even though the test stands have changed, I don't know if the actual tank situation has, but you can see that they have, I can only guess, liquid oxygen, methane, and nitrogen, possibly.
I think the nitrogen would be on the right.
In the verticals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a lot like suborbital pad A and B, they have the similar setup to this.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, already with 2 and 2 of those tanks, whatever they're doing at Massey's seems larger than that. If all of this is for that facility.
Well, Massey's is firing Raptor engines, which require, a specific amount of fuel per fire. With filling up an entire vessel, like a test vessel, I mean, that's a much larger volume, but usually you would use liquid nitrogen for that, right?
Well, um, yeah, that is a thing. I mean, if they are doing actual pressure vessel testing down here, then that's completely different story, I guess. So we do have, this tank. Was this this isn't the E dome? I forget which one this is. We still have one test tank waiting to be tested here. There's another one at the build site. So yeah, it does make sense that they would need lots of nitrogen storage if they're doing that kind of stuff here. But you know, I mean, how long would they be doing that kind of testing? You know what I mean? I feel like it's not going to be. Um, it almost seems temporary for that. You know?
Oh, I just realized something. There's that kettle boiler they've had there forever. Maybe they'll hook that up here so that they can make a mini orbital launch tank farm. Uh, and you could have nitrogen, helium, oxygen, and methane, as well as that kettle boiler. And boom, you have a very mini version of the whole tank farm recreated here. And you could do, well, I mean, whatever you want. Static fires of the engine separately. Yep, still there.
Yeah, still here.
Uh,
They moved out all this stuff. All of this was over here. Wow, they had to move a ton of stuff out of the way just to get those tanks in here.
Well, it's well organized, that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is much better than Sanchez. I mean, look at the organization back here.
So here's the thing. If you're moving your house and your house is currently a mess, whenever you arrive at your new house, everything's neatly put away in boxes. And as soon as you unbox it, everything's organized. It's like a great way to clean your house up is just move.
The perfect analogy to the situation. But
That's
they've
great.
been really going at it for organizing things for a bit now. It's not just moving things. It's like there will be a pile of something, and then you'll move it 20 feet over, and it's organized. It's like, okay, that's better than it was. But they've
Um,
been really organizing because of the move as well.
If it's anything like my business, when I ask a group of people, like, hey, why are things going so slow? I can only imagine in this case, somebody piped up and goes, it's because I can't find anything and I'm looking for this and it's in a pile of trash and I can't get to it. And they're like, you know what? All right, that's legitimate. Let's go ahead and get organized.
I see we have destroyed the chat by talking about ribbed tanks. So
Yes,
Oh,
yes, you
you
have.
destroyed me. I was dying.
we'll try to get it back together. Sorry, everyone.
So there is a
Um,
question about Massey's though, before you move too far away. Jean-Francois is asking, for going to the Massey side, do you see some electric cable? Is it possible to electric cable to a ship or booster to pass it in the height? I'm not
I didn't
exactly
understand
sure.
that part.
Yeah, so it says, do you see some electric cable? Is it possible to a ship or booster to pass it in
he's
the night
asking if there's
height?
overhead cables that would prevent a ship or booster from coming to Massey's.
There you go.
No, there's not, but I don't think.
They buried them directly at the entrance of Massey's.
Yeah.
But then it's aerial before and after Massey's. You can only look at it like on Google Maps. They have it visible there as well, but it's not as Mauricio's flyover photos that he usually takes.
I actually have a cool video I can show here in a few minutes. I'll see if I can find it.
But while you're finding that, I can point out something interesting. The tanks could also go where that front or that tail loader is, the one at the top left. There is plenty of space for additional tanks up here. So that's a good area to look at maybe for additional tanks. And I do like your kettle boiler idea. You could also use the kettle boilers for rechilling your propellants that you have. So your LOX or your methane. You can use the kettle boilers to basically cycle that with nitrogen. boil off the nitrogen, and it's a lot like the orbital fuel farm, and you can save some propellants that way. You'd still dump quite a bit with your static fires. You'll be doing engine chill if you're going to use this as a base for doing static fires. I'm still looking forward to finding a spot where they're going to, let's say, put engines if they're going to do static fires here. We'd also need to see some infrastructure like large platforms that would start to appear. Those would be the pieces that we would really want to see for a static fire.
Agreed.
Still looking for that image or the
No,
video?
the video. Yeah, I did the drive up to Starbase, and I filmed all of it the whole way so that I could. A lot of people tend to ask about that three-phase power coming from Brownsville, so I got a really nice video of that. But
Oh, nice.
it's going to take a bit to upload, so I'm just going to initiate that really quick, and then we'll move on while that's happening. So just give me just a moment. In the meantime, Indy, did we have any more questions about Massey's?
No, we don't have questions, but we do have some very lovely and generous donations, and we have some new flight supporters. Specifically, we want to welcome Todd Burnell, who is actually, he's been an RGV Early Access member, and he says, welcome back at CSI Starbase. So, Zach, good to have you back. Luckily, we have an amazing team to fill in while you were away. And then we actually want to welcome Andy to the RGV Flight Supporter crew. So, welcome, sir. And then 55 Chevy Guy was able to donate $10. Scat 1975 donated £5 and says keep it up. And at donated 5 Canadian dollars and says always appreciate your work, thank you. And Joey Bag of Donuts donated $20. He wanted a poll about the tanks.
What was his question about the tanks?
It wasn't a question. It was a comment about he was looking for a poll about the different styles. Sorry?
You gotta have a question for a poll.
I think the question was, you don't want to know the question. It's more of the hubbub that was created when you mentioned that what's different about the two types of tanks.
Understood. All right. Well, in that case, so one more thing I did want to point out is this little tiny ball right here. This looks like a pressure vessel as well. This is pretty interesting. This looks like a miniature version of that methane sphere for KSC.
Yeah, the one at NASA. Well, I guess they're all NASA. NASA's everywhere. And what are those boilers?
Gas vaporizers.
Yeah, vaporizers.
Well, a small little tank like that would be used for high pressure, so something like helium would be perfect for that little tank.
Yes.
Yeah, but you also have a bunch of other helium tanks, so they're off to the bottom of where you're at there. Actually, they were. Now they're moved over.
Yeah, we have 4 different sizes of tanks down here. So these are very similar to what's on the roof of the bunker. So I'm guessing one would probably be nitrogen, helium, nitrogen, helium, oxygen, and methane for gaseous storage for engine startup. So that would be interesting. I mean, these alone kind of tell me that that's exactly what's happening here, is that Raptor test facility at some point. So
it's upgrading little bit by little. So right now it's all about the test tanks and blowing those up for like E-Dome. So they've done that, and now it's the question of, okay, what's next? They've got more of these large tanks, which that wouldn't make sense for just a bunch of pop tests. You would want to do what you have right here for pop tests. Fill up those tanks with nitrogen, fill up the tanks, pop them, and move along. But why would you have so many more for pops? It doesn't make sense. There's a lot more to it than just the donut tested and such.
You know what I love about all of this? This is all recreated inside of each starship and inside of each booster, plus more, like the actuators and the flaps and all that. All of this is what it takes to run the ships. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're referring to like how the COPVs hold the stuff that's in here, and these being like your actual fuel tanks of the vehicle, is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much, in one way or another, every component that you see here is recreated in the Starship and in the booster. I mean, it has to hold some methane, some oxygen. It doesn't have any nitrogen. It's not as super chilled, but it's pre-chilled.
Yeah. One thing I'm noticing here, um, the pipe stands. I think these 4 pipe stands are new. There's a few more over here that they look like they're going to be installing soon. So I have a feeling that these 3 tanks will go straight through here, probably to the vaporizers, or past the vaporizers. And then you'll probably have, like Thomas was saying, the other tanks on the other side, which will do the same thing past here. So um, yeah, it's interesting seeing the pre-setup for that. SpaceX engineers are really good at doing things that look weird when you use it the first time, but then when you see like the final product, you're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Uh, the intermediate steps that you took to get there. So, and this, I'm hoping this video is very close to being finished. So, if that comes up, then I will be able to show that to y'all. But in the meantime, I think it's probably a good time for us to swap over to the Sanchez site. So, unless there's any objections,
No objections.
cool.
No objections. Sanchez it is. Takes down the road, Zach.
All right. And actually, I'll let you guys take this for a second. I'm going to try and get this in the
Sure.
right
Well,
folder.
the big news obviously here is that massive tent is making great progress. They're still putting on the last few bits. They've got insulation on the inside of that tent, just to the left of Zach's yellow cursor there. So my current thought is this tent is going to be immediately for holding some of tent 1, tent 2, and tent 3's items, whatever's in there, while they are moving stuff around to create the rest of Star Factory, like Star Factory segments 1 and 2 and 3. Following that, I think this tent's going to be here long term. And I say that because it's got all the insulation and all that finish work. So, and it's got a good foundation there. So we should see this probably for at least 6 months to a year. So, it might not be permanent, but it'll be here for a good long while. And that's the big news, the obvious thing out of Sanchez. Yeah,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, we got some ground images out here for it, and Mauricio actually got a really cool one right directly in front of it. So we'll show you all that as well too. This is another side angle, so you can see the parts that have the actual roof panels versus the insulation metal layer in between. Yes, this is a temporary tent, but I think it's going to be here much longer than 6 months. That's for sure. I think that um, it for what I if this is used for what I think it's going to be used for, then I don't really see a reason to ever get a permanent facility, because this should do the job well enough. All it is just storage for booster parts, and in particular, I'm still leaning towards Raptor storage on this because it makes the most sense as far as like how much space Raptors take up versus how much space um, your booster parts, for example, like the all the shielding for one booster takes up way less space than all of the. Well, this could be debatable, but I'm pretty sure the shielding for one booster takes up less space if you are storing it on the ground than 33 engines do. So, and especially since those 33 engines require a testing facility. So I believe, and when I say testing facility, I mean like a pressure testing facility. And let's go ahead and show y'all the. Man, this is amazing.
right.
He's just on the street here looking out. It looks like he's almost
Oh,
inside
he's
of
in
it.
there. He's in there. Send
He
him a
just
summons.
walked on in.
Trespassing.
Look, you put on a yellow safety vest, you can walk anywhere around there.
Oh, don't get Mauricio in
Don't do
trouble.
that. No.
Because yeah, he wasn't there. He was on the road, but he's got a good zoom on it, and it just the presence of this thing is amazing.
So
Not gonna
yeah,
lie. I kind of looked over at this picture and I was like, wait, is that him on the ground right there? But like,
wait, that doesn't make any sense.
He's
I
a
know.
time traveler too. Is that what you're saying?
So in my mind, you have 3 things you could do. Temporary storage of, just bits and pieces for right now. And that's my leading theory. long-term storage of Raptors, booster parts, just anything. But the third idea is all the things that we've been seeing produced at Sanchez have been produced out in the open. So they might be using this as another ground support equipment manufacturing facility where they're going to make bits and pieces and components for the tower, the mount, the tank farm, transport stands, etc. And it might just be used for that. It might be the testing crew's production site. Who knows?
So that's an interesting idea. Is that it basically is a welding tent for, let's say, transport stands as well, or large objects.
Yeah,
That's an interesting
look,
idea.
those guys are tired of being out in the sun too.
True. It takes a lot of the day because they have to go through and rest up because they're out in the sun all day. So that takes a lot of time out of it. So if they're in the shade, they work faster, they work a bit longer, and they're not as tired at the end of the day.
I'm tired just watching them work, man.
It's interesting. At the bottom, I'm seeing a lot of looks like channel. I'm not sure if that's iodized channel. That's like this strong steel structure you like have for the stairs
Oh,
inside of Mega Bay, and just know at the bottom of the screen right there.
yeah, I saw that. If you look up at the roof, it's the same material the roof is made of, I think.
Oh, okay,
This is?
that's really thick.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Oh,
think it's
yeah, you're
thicker.
right. That is thicker than that.
I think
Is it ribbed?
Really,
these
Grandpa
are
Joe?
frames for the Raptor test stand that will go in there. Just a guess. Let's see if I
Frames
can.
for the Raptor test stands means full-blown Raptors already assembled would be sitting on these stands, or pieces of, components of?
So in tent one, there's a section where they go through and bring in Raptors, full Raptors, and they're on basically on a pallet, the bed or just on the floor basically. I think they're all on the pallet anyways. They bring them in and they move an assembly around the Raptor to do the testing station. So that's where they go through and they'll torque at bolts and just like really test all of the components of the Raptor. There is enough material here that you could make a stand, but I mean, that is really thick stuff. I don't know why you would be making a stand like that thick of material. It's confusing on that one.
Well, let's see. 1 second here. I'm going to show this image really quick, or this is actually a video. So let me swap over to that.
So there was a question about the power lines at Sanchez,
Um,
or is this a different one?
I'm
Oh,
still
this is
done.
the.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I'm
Okay.
uploading right now. It might take a little bit, but I will not forget.
I really love the quality of this image. Man, that just looks like almost cinematic.
So we should see the Raptor test stand in here in a little bit. I'm not exactly sure where it's at in here, but I will stop when we get there.
That
This
was
is it
right there. Yep.
Yep.
This is all
Oh,
Raptor test stand. So
Oh,
this
like
is
the
platform.
assembly platform or yeah.
It's a maintenance. It's a testing platform. You actually see it better in Tim Dodd's tour of Starbase, but I mean, this is probably like a third of it right here. There's a lot more of it behind. I believe they can fit 2 or 3 Raptors up here, and as you can see, they use this for outfitting all of the parts that come in. So, when starships arrive, or sorry, not starships, Raptors arrive, people are like, oh yeah, they look so much slimmer than the other ones, which they do, but a lot of the stuff also gets added on later, because the Raptors all get sent as basically they're all the same. So they're made so that you can install the TVC, the pistons on any of them. You can install the Raptor QDs for the outer 20 engines on any of them. They're basically universal engines, and there's a station where they do all that outfitting at, and then from here they move it over to the high bay or the mega bay when they install it.
It's important to note that white floor is the part that moves out. So that comes out, and then the Raptor moves out, and then they can move it around. And then the floor itself, the white section and the black floor piece, they're basically two semicircles on each side that wrap around the Raptor itself.
We almost got a good image of that.
You could see another really good view from Jay Leno's tour of Star Factory, or not Star Factory, but Starbase here. It's straight on. You can see it, and it's Tim Dodd's is good, but the Jay Leno one on this particular view is better.
I don't think I have that one readily available right now. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't fully watch that one. Because I kept getting the play-by-play from everybody, and I was like, well, you guys are ruining it for me. I don't even want to see it anymore. But yeah, so getting back to what we were talking about, the this tent, a lot of different options for what it could be used for. But as far as this frame goes, I mean, Thomas, you kind of mentioned that part of it slides out actually to allow them to move the Raptors in and out, like a heavy duty frame that has features like that. I feel like this could make sense. But
we could also just be looking at structural elements for this tent, and it's like these are the side plates or something else that things fit into.
Let's look at it from the aerial view and see if we can find those same. Oh, well, what if maybe this is the same stuff right here?
Oh, like the end caps. Yeah, that might make more sense.
This looks different. This looks different than what we were seeing on the ground.
And even what he took pictures of yesterday, that tent on the inside doesn't look like that. There's an image, if you want to take a look, that shows that whatever was there that they're weaving through either is ripped or collapsing. I don't know. You can see the stuffing coming out.
Oh, they're pulling it together. They haven't finished it yet. So they slide into
the orange?
Yeah, it's the yeah, that's the insulation. And so they basically will slide it into the grooves. And so that's still in progress. It hasn't been completed here. So they're wrapping it in between each layer, and it just sticks up in between it. And then the last part is the panels underneath. So you won't see any of this. And we've seen insulation fall before while they're in progress of constructing one of these, where it's loose or something like that, and it just hangs around and is flimsy because of the breeze. But it's back here on this one as well. So they've already done the insulation here. It's already prepped, and now they're ready to do the panels.
Yeah, once you bolt it all together, it stiffens and gains structural stability.
These tents are funny because they're not permanent tents, but they use them as if they were. It's a very cheap way of building things. They'd use them for Tesla up in New York. They had similar tents to these, and similar tents to the ones at tents 1, 2, and 3 at the Starbase here. So this is really just a nice way of getting a building up and quick, so you can do something with it, even if it's temporary or long term. It provides weathering element protection from rain, wind, everything you need to protect from.
Dust. Or maybe they really just like camping. Who knows? So outside of the tent, are they doing anything with the test articles? I noticed they had run some stringers on, it looked like the test article in the bottom left.
Oh, well, give me 1 second. We'll get to that. I was just going to talk about the so on the side, each side of the building, they have these little tiny doors. So there's a door here, and then there's another one down on this side right here. Almost like this looks like a haunted house entrance, kind of.
Yeah, it looks like a mouse hole almost.
Yeah, and so I think they'll have a parking lot here, just for this building as well too, and then maybe even possibly a half parking lot on this side as well. But yeah, sorry, that's just the last things I wanted to point out about that.
Zach, one last thing. I was just thinking, the tent. Remember we were watching them put tons of gravel and tons of base, and like they really put a lot of foundation and structure under this. Do you think they might be holding anything like really heavy down there? Or, I mean, it kind of seems like overkill. Or maybe they have just learned their lesson and don't want to have to redo this piece of concrete.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you put 90 engines inside of a building, it would probably get pretty heavy.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? All right, back to the testing.
Before we leave the tent, there is one more question. It is from Jean-Francois. He's asking, is the tent at Sanchez going to replace tents 1 and 2 after they build the bigger factory, the Star factory?
Well, I think we touched on that a little bit. It's not really a replacement for the tent itself, just some of the things that normally go in there, which is kind of a confusing way to put that. But yeah, I don't view it as a replacement for that because you wouldn't replace a temporary structure with another temporary structure. You're just so for one, they've never had a place to truly store the Raptors. It was in that production tent, like I said. So this is just giving them a place to actually keep them, in my opinion, like a dedicated storage spot that's not in the middle of where you're also building boosters and stuff. So,
And to be clear, there's confusion on this of where the Raptors will go. That's your
my theory.
guess, and there's really like 4 places the Raptors could go. They could go in the back of Wide Bay, over there in that new building here. They could go in Star Factory. They could go in this new tent, and then they could also go in any number of buildings that they have on site. That I believe they had that. There's a white building just let's see, west of the what is that called? The grounds fabrication building. They used to have Raptors in there at one point. So if they come back during a brief interim, that could happen. But you still want that work platform and all of that progress to be moving forward. You don't want to move back on these things. You want to move forward on them.
I wonder if I have the ability to make polls. If we can, I just curious what people think as far as what's physically more likely, like surface area wise, where you would have this many engines at. Because like if right now, if you look at how fast booster and ship production is going, engine production is keeping up with that as well too. But they're definitely storing those engines somewhere else and bringing them here once they are ready for them. I feel like they just don't have an area to actually store as many engines as they want to. I feel like this is going to be like a whole farm of engines, of an engine farm. I don't think you could fit. I feel like you could fit like 1.5 boosters of engines in here. No, okay, I take that back. You could probably fit 2 boosters worth of engines in here. But that would be pretty much it. Plus, you got to have a place to store the ship engines too, RVACs and all that. So I don't think that you would do RVACs and everything in here. But yeah, just my opinion. Anyways, let's move on to the testing articles. I'm gonna double check really quick and see if we got some ground images of this because that'll be the best way to show it.
Yeah, I saw some just a minute ago.
I am so excited about this. It's finally happening.
But Test Tank 13, the super tall edition.
I'm gonna
I just call this the Interstage test article. It's just that's what it is. It's like you can see how they've put basically the base of a starship on top here that gets next to the top of basically what a booster would be. So that's the Interstage, and they all of their sensors basically between these 2 regions is really where it's mostly aimed. There's a bit on the tank as well, but it's mostly on this, what they're really concerned and interested in.
Well,
So the Starship is 1,400 metric tons plus a payload of another 150. So let's call it 1,500 metric tons. If this thing gets to 3 Gs, that is 45 metric tons of force at that load point right there. So that's pretty hefty. Not gonna lie.
and we do have our resident ring watcher on hand. He's available too. Jax is here if you all have questions about all of this.
Jax.
That's funny.
Jax, hey.
Everybody's always like, Jax isn't coming today. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Hey, yeah, well, it's hard to stay away. There's so many good photos.
Well
So
said.
what are you thinking about this? My main question before you even get into whatever you wanted to talk about, how does this make sense? Because this is not, ships aren't reinforced like this on the bottom, right?
Yeah. So just so for a little bit of explanation for everybody, this test article is B6.1. It It was manufactured about a year ago and has just been sitting around until now. Recently, they put together this booster test tank and a skirt on top. And presumably, what this is going to be testing is that interstage portion of the booster and that kind of connection surface between the ship and booster. As you said, the ship isn't reinforced like that up there, so we can. It's pretty safe to say that the actual skirt, the integrity of the skirt, isn't going to be the focus of this test. It seems to be more on the booster side.
Interesting.
So they are focused at the bottom of the skirt area of this, plus the 6.1 article as well. If you go back to the ground photos, had all those little
Yep.
load sensors. So they don't care about if the top fails, because that's why they've reinforced it so much. That's not what they're testing for. They're testing for this connection, really.
Exactly that. That's kind of what this test is going to be focusing on, or at least seemingly what that test is going to be focusing on. The actual skirt's structure has been mostly they've redesigned so much on the ship 24 generation that I'm not sure how much useful data you'd actually get from that.
So it's the tape areas that you really want to pay attention to. Those are the areas where the sensors are at.
Yeah.
So that's the load cell essentially. So it's like a strain gauge. It pulls away and pushes, and that's what they will be using to do the test.
What are is this the same? This is something different, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that particular sensor would be for.
It almost looks like an internal camera, but I don't think that's what it is.
Well, it could be. They have all sorts of housings and connectors that would be for cameras, and that could be one. But it's a little bit more expensive looking than it needs to be, because you could just run it through this way instead of doing it the other way. There's a big open hole.
I would love to see what all the sensors on the inside are going to.
Let's see if we could spot any tape anywhere.
I don't think there's much to see on the inside of here. Such a small view.
Yeah, well, it's going up towards
One
the
cable,
interstage
yeah.
area again, so they're testing it on multiple directions, and maybe even the stringers themselves.
It is interesting, like how many cables are coming out right here in particular.
Oh yeah, look at that. And where do they run to?
I think some of them go up.
So there's a strain gauge right there. So it's just below where they connect, and so they're getting some incorrect sampling, because they've doubled that the stringers, and it's just right there next to it. So I guess it would tell them if they have any issues that are not related to the test they're trying to get to, which they shouldn't. Like, there's so much extra stiffening there that that shouldn't be a.
I mean, if you're penetrating the wall, that would make sense for like a pressure gauge, but neither of these sections are pressurized.
No, they're not pressurized. The bottom side, they do have a tank that will be pressurized with water. In the aerial view, if you switch back to that, you can see that tank there, and it's got water leaking out of it. That particular tank up there, that one is already looks like connected into the can crusher area. So you can actually see on the left side right there, the line running to it.
Is this a better angle?
Yeah. So the line is running to it, but then it's not connected to the rest of the way, it looks like.
So in the flyover image, they hadn't put on the ropes, but in the ground shots they had, right?
Yep. That's a difference of a day right there.
Yeah, you can see them getting all set up over here. And was this the connection right here that you were talking about?
Yep. So those are going to be the lines that will hook up underneath to the 6.1 test article. That's the bottom base piece. But it's the whole thing is an interstage test. But I do love how it lets down its long hair.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. It'll be fun to see if they actually end up crushing this one, but I doubt they will.
Oh, I hope not. Like, if they crush things, that's a bad thing. That's why it's called the can crusher. It's like the puck shucker. You don't want to shuck the puck or crush the can. You want as they are when they come out as they went in. It's you don't want to break it.
Right. That makes sense. It just needs to meet the designed. Well, sometimes they do test to failure. But obviously we don't think that's what's happening here, right?
I don't think they'd be testing to failure on this one, not yet. If they wanted to test for failure, I hope they would put out a statement from Elon or somebody else just to reassure everybody, including like investors, that yeah, this was a test that you wanted to fail. You want to see what the limits are at. So they need to have, what was it, around like 3,000, or at least in a future version, it was 3,000 tons of connection, or at least that connection needs to hold at least 3,000 tons. So it's like that's the tanker variant that I'm talking about.
Well, one thing that's not going to happen is a tweet from Elon, because he only tweets about not SpaceX these days. So,
Oh boy.
well, hopefully Gwen will get on Twitter and help Elon out here.
She's already on Twitter.
Did.
I mean, like telling us all these details that we want to hear, like that one.
I think she is the type to do the exact opposite.
True.
She's and not to say that Elon's not like all down to business, but Gwen is super, like all business. You know what I mean? So if anything, I would almost expect things to get more strict at Starbase, not less strict as far as like information that comes out.
It's
It
already
was
been
more
getting strict.
produced, but they did release that Life Inside Starbase video. So, or Life Inside SpaceX. And that was pretty revealing, I thought. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
It was more produced
Should we
and controlled.
go through that? Should we go through the rest of it?
You know what? I would love it if
Yes.
we did. Please.
This is turning into a rocket talk now. Nice.
Let me pull that back up for us really quick.
That's a great idea. We should invite Gwen.
I'd love to have her.
I'd be disappointed if she showed up. I just hope they're too busy for that. All right, so let's go step by step through this. So nothing too interesting here. This is back when they were still doing the roof. Oh wow, look at the Star Factory in the background. That's cool. I almost forgot to look that. Still all from that same day.
So quick note on Stargate building itself, because that's something I went through and looked at extensively from this video to understand the layout of it. So the sides where you see they have the control room, it's in the top floor.
Whoa. You're jumping.
But no, I'm just gonna tell you that the top is the front side. So anything from the north facing windows and the highway side, that's basically what you're looking at, is the control room.
Let's skip to the control room.
Okay. I was just wanting to say from the outside what you're looking at.
You're good.
So there's a window in the front of it that you have to kind of understand.
This window?
No. The very front of the building facing Highway 4.
Okay.
I would call that the front, but anyways. Well, there's the turtle. Nice. So there's a control room. There's a window. That's not a door, right? That's the big one on the middle to the right.
This?
Yeah, that's a window. And so then you have a room to the right of that. So it's all blocked on that side. There's something else. There's a door on the right-hand side.
From the outside, you would have a single window on the left and a double window on the right, and it would be kind of towards the middle of the building. So
yeah, this is the very center. So that fire alarm would be the very center of the roof line, right there, and then this is just off center of the roof line.
Okay. So is the launch pad's not this direction?
Launchpad is that direction.
Out this window. Okay.
Left a little bit more too, but it's that direction. So if you look from across Highway 4, you can see the launch site.
This is a different room, right? Or is this the same room at night?
This is the same room, the same corner. So we're looking further to the left than we were just a moment ago.
And it's at night?
Yeah, and then the craziest part is we're looking at so many different tank views. It's like, which one's the Starship, which one's the booster? You can only tell from like the downcomer on one of them. It's like, that's the ship and that's the booster. I think you have to scroll back a little bit on each frame.
I want to analyze all of these screens. Like, ooh, what are they monitoring? What are they looking at? There's the temperature going down during a test.
Are you sure this is both vehicles?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I know what this is. This is when they were testing Ship 24 and Booster 7 separately on the staging pad.
Yeah, so look at the camera view right there. You can
Yeah.
see that it's on the pad.
So it's not a full stack test, but it's when they did back-to-back static fires, I'm guessing.
That'd probably be right, or at least cryo tests.
Oh, look, and the guy dead center, he's got our Discord up, just on the left screen there. By the way, anybody who would like to join us before or after the show, RGV does have a Discord. Feel free to jump on in. SpaceX included. Love to talk to you guys.
But you
Look
do
at
need to be a Patreon. Sorry, Zach. To join us in the in this chat, you need to
Yeah,
be
the
a
studio in the green
Patreon
room.
or
You
YouTube
have to be.
subscriber
All the more reason to be a Patreon.
or YouTube subscriber.
Well, okay. So one thing that we talked about earlier, that tent. Look at the roof material. It's basically insulation there. Same kind of insulation that they have in the tent. This one actually, it's like they don't have the panels or any of that, but it's a really clean, simple building, and it works.
This is Stargate?
Yeah.
It's the
Oh, wow.
inside
You
of
would
it.
think
Yeah.
after this many years they would have had panels up there.
So one thing I was noticing, if this is, I don't know if this is the header tank right here, or if this is just the downcomer, but you can actually see a change. There's actual fluid being moved through there right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is for the static fire of the ship that we're watching. This is the same period of time, because you can look at that ship there, and then this is the static fire of that ship.
Oh, so this is mid static fire, possibly?
Yeah, mid testing of that static fire.
Yeah, I think it is.
You can see the debris being kicked up on the cameras.
This one? Wait, but this is inside the tank. Which one are you seeing debris?
Well, if you were just to click play, you can see a bunch of stuff flying by the cameras.
Yeah, you can see an engine on the rightmost monitor there.
Did you see him exit out of that? Hold on. What did that guy change from?
He's just changing camera views on his screen on the right one.
He's got a little stream deck over there like I do.
Oh, they're not just. You have to look at the one where it's a profile view, and you can actually see what it is. It's not like a normal Stream Deck or anything like that. They have a push to talk system. There it is. There's a console that they all have. It's behind his monitor. So you see that little red, easy button just above that. And I can't see your mouse, by the way.
Oh, okay. It's because I'm holding the timeline, so it doesn't move.
Oh, did you pause it at all?
No, that's too easy.
Also interesting to note, they use HP.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Didn't notice that.
So this is the control thing right here?
Yeah, that's their push to talk. That's basically what they use for their communications system and maybe some other elements. You could even control cameras probably on something like that.
Nice. I didn't look at the screens in this angle at all, but it is really cool seeing the booster engines on from that camera down there. I wish we could see that camera. Man, spin primes from that view would be amazing.
Dude,
Yeah,
without
but when
doubt.
there's a static fire, I wonder
wow.
if they all look over to the right. Because that's not your job. Your job is to look at the screen, not the vehicle.
Look at this. Is this the Interstage up here?
Yeah, that's the top of the booster.
Yazada's asking if they have lights inside the ship propellant tanks.
They would have lights with the cameras, or yeah.
Yeah, you can see the light. You can see the light shining right here in the edge of the camera view.
And while we're on this view, there was a question from Peter asking, is the diagram on the wall underneath the fire alarm the building layout diagram?
No, that's something else. It's like equivalent of a piece of artwork that was drawn on the wall, and they've put a piece over, or actually it could be their whiteboard. Sorry.
It is their whiteboard. It's their whiteboard.
Sorry, the first time I saw that, I thought it was art. This is Elon drawing this. You got to save it. No, this is just the whiteboard.
Some would say it's art.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Valve diagram.
It's trip L, I think, on the left circle. I can't read the red, but
Looks like it says 20L.
20 liters.
yeah, it just looks like some valve assemblies and
Yeah,
pipes and some diagrams for flow charts.
very interesting.
It's their Tesla tequila whiskey steel.
This is the secret formula.
That's right. This is how they make it.
I want to go backwards a little bit because I think it's also important to like talk about like what they're doing here. So not only are they, showing the awesomeness of actually, working there, like the types of things that they do, um, but they're also focusing on actual, life there, and which is why it's called Life at Starbase, not working at Starbase. Um, so, in particular, the the restaurant community, like letting people know that uh, the what they've heard about not being able to find food out there is not necessarily true. Saying that they don't ever have a good time, not necessarily true. Um, you know, showing the kind of events that they put on for their employees. I think this is kind of like showing them being a part of the community. Uh, Obviously, everybody needs coffee, so got to let people know that they got that there. On-site living, I think this is another one of those where it lets people know that like you know they're doing everything they can to increase their on-site living space, which we will touch on here in a bit. We don't normally show the village much, but we will today, just to show all of the changes that they're making, and I think they coincide with this video a lot. This is obviously the neighborhood, um, and over on this side, you can see the tiny homes that they're building over there. There's a ton more that are under construction down here. They didn't show this side of it, but there's even more being built out there, which we will touch on, as I said, later. Um, they have a private school for the students of the workers. It's called Ad Astra School. This is a little like gated community that's on, or a gated building. Like if you're driving up to like halfway on Highway 4 up to Starbase, you'll pass by a house that says Ad Astra, and it's like gated. It's basically a school for the students, and daycare for people who have kids,
Daycare for the dogs too.
daycare for the dogs as well. Gotta have that. Um, Overall, kind of letting people know that like while it is a bit of an adjustment to move to Brownsville, like I can say that just from visiting down there, they're definitely doing what they can to like accommodate for that, for their employees by um, expanding the amenities, I guess, that they're able to offer to them. So yeah, that's kind of one thing I wanted to touch on with this because I think it kind of may have gone by the wayside when some people are watching this just because of how cool everything looks. Um, but in my opinion, that's kind of the main reason that they did this.
It's
I
awesome.
love that view.
Yeah.
So if you want to scrub back real quick, I've got a quick camera shot to show you something that's interesting. So you'll have to go back to that jet fighter flying through the starships at Sanchez.
While he scrubs back, can I shout out a few donations? Because there are some very generous people in chat.
Oh yes, please.
All right,
There
thank
we
you.
go.
Moon to Mars gave us a $50 donation and says for use wherever it is needed, and we thank you so much, Moon to Mars. Roy Parrish also donated $5 and says has a question for you guys about the barges and Massies, so we'll come back to that one. Andrew Springer donated $19.99. JK Video donated $20 and says Mauricio is amazing. Would love to meet you. So Mauricio, you have a fan. Well, many, but this one in particular. Crane Man also was very generous and donated $20 through PayPal. And then we have people gifting subscriptions. Jim Cavett gifted an RGV aerial membership, and I believe it went to Just Ryan. I might be wrong about that one, but I'm pretty sure it went to Just Ryan. So lots of generous people in chat, and we thank you very much. And Thomas, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I've got this footage right here of him going through it's basically ship 15 and 16, I believe. If you pull up the LiveComms Golden Boy, there's another video from the pilot seat of this So this is from Slick F16, which is, I think he also goes by Kid. So Jared Isaacman. So he's the cameraman is literally on the mega bay. You could see him. It's the second dark spot to the right underneath the tower. So it's the second one to the right.
Oh, wow.
That one right there. That's the cameraman.
Holy smokes! How did you even see that?
I analyze this stuff like crazy whenever I get the chance. But yeah, that was such a cool shot that they got there. I'm so glad that we got to see it. At first, I thought that was one of the workers. And then we saw this video. I'm like, oh, it wasn't a worker. Oh, that's so much better. Like a worker building the tower, not expecting it to happen. No, they were expecting it to happen. They were recording it the whole time.
Where is it? Where is it? Did I go too far back? Okay, here we go.
For this right there, yeah. And so he's
Or
flying
you could
literally
see
between them. It looks like he's further back towards the booster side, but no, he is literally in between those two.
Yikes.
But yeah, these are Jared Isaacman's pilots. They have flown around Sam Patel, Elon,
Mauricio.
and a bunch of other Mauricio, yeah, and a bunch of other celebrities that are unnamed. They've been able to fly around with them. So this is just a really cool view to get those. And what SpaceX has done here is they've got a lot of great drone footage that gets us a closer ground angle or different perspective than what Mauricio can get because he's up much higher.
Yeah, the drone angles in general are interesting. Like I feel like I was on site for a ton of these. Slash was watching the live streams while they were doing them. Every time we're like, oh, drone, and there's times during the lifts like this where it feels like they're holding position for something. And yeah, I mean the angles that they got, the time of day that they choose for a lot of these, I think is important as well too. Like, oh, we're gonna stack at night because we need some night footage for this.
Hold booster for drone shot.
Yeah, exactly. So I was really excited when I saw this. Also a little bit distracted because I was working on something, and I feel like things like this always come out when I'm super busy. But yeah, this is awesome to be able to see all this stuff. So shout out to SpaceX for posting this. But with that, I think we should probably hop back in, and we may have to speed up a little bit because,
Back to the regular scheduled program. Nice.
yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the bottom left-hand corner of Sanchez because there's a little bit of news there. It's brief. Move the dirt. They put in concrete. Okay, that's about it.
Yeah, and the thing is, we don't know how far this goes because it could end right here, or it could be covered already. So this is, excuse me, this could be similar to how they built the, I forget what you call it, the Starlink building, where they put a concrete slab down, covered it, and then put another one on top. So there's no way right now to tell whether or not there's a slab underneath here, but there could be, or this could just be the first of it. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be more of it because they have more of the base material that they usually put down. So this has been interesting to watch. There's been trucks nonstop. They're probably even doing this right now, just circling through here and then dropping off their load and leaving again. So kind of interesting to see what this turns out. I don't know if it's necessarily something supposed to be here or if this is just a staging place for dirt so they can bring it elsewhere.
Well, the concrete says that they are intentionally doing something here, so they're prepping the soil in this area for whatever this is going to be. There's some structure or building, let's say components like the booster transport stands. They could be building something similar to that here, or this could be storing, who knows, maybe boosters or.
Oh, rocket garden extension.
I would hope for a rocket garden right here. That would be so nice. Right along Highway 4 at the beginning. Oh.
Yeah, that would be really
That'd
cool.
be super sweet.
Interesting.
And
this
those
could be where the SPMTs pull in at, and then you have your actual conspiracies. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, the solar panels have been getting ripped apart by the wind again. They have a really hard time holding those down.
Tough day to be a solar panel.
Yep.
We have one thing we have not found out. We're missing 3 of these. We have no idea where they went.
I thought there were 2 of them up above.
Wait, what?
At least they used to be up here. They moved around a bit.
Yeah, I think 3 of them left. We have no idea where they went. I've been looking every day, trying to find them, but have not seen them yet. But other than that, like we mentioned earlier in the show, they did move this tank over to Sanchez, and I believe, Indy, we had a question related to that.
About the tanks? Yes, we do actually. There was a question that asks, what did they ask? Do you think that they'll bring the barges up the river and offload them at Massey's as well?
Um,
The
Eventually,
tanks.
I believe they would.
wait,
Oh,
no,
you're saying
no,
like
no,
bring
no,
them
no.
directly to Massey's for the barges?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. They would unload them at the port connector road and then have them come in.
Yeah, that works out much better.
Yeah, I was like,
Um,
yeah, obviously the port connector road's right there. So you go from the port to the Massey. No, not on the river. That river, I don't think it's super navigable.
Yeah, definitely not for offloading things like that. Really quickly, we are just about at the halfway mark of the show, so this will be the first time we mention this. If you guys will do us a favor and hit that like button if you haven't already, or if you're not liking the show, you can hit the dislike. It's okay. Just leave us a comment and let us know why you did that, if so. But we appreciate you all either way, and thanks again, as always, for being here with us on a Saturday. Did we have anything else we wanted to mention in Sanchez?
those are the two big ones. The other ones would be the ground shots of the new tanks that have come in, but that's about it. So
Okay, I'll show some ground shots. I just remembered one thing. Um, they should be setting this up soon. I didn't realize for the longest time that, well, both of these boosters are being pressurized by the tow behind trailers instead of the actual nitrogen system that they use for. So all these ships are pressurized using this. Oh wow, they're gonna have
yeah, they'll have 3 of them. So it's
3 of them.
and then the middle one is actually the small one of them all. And then you actually have that tank on the right. That's brand new. It's like 300 bar PSI is what it's rated for. That's the blue one.
Yeah.
It's a series of tanks.
Yeah, I took a picture of this one when I went down there. I never showed it though. We have some ground images of that. Let's
But yeah, so what they are going to do is these tanks are going to be filled with nitrogen. They'll gasify it, and that allows them to pressurize the vehicles. So there's air gas vaporizers that will be installed for each of the white tanks, and they'll have additional gas, I guess, for the. So this is the nitrogen tank. You can actually see it says nitrogen on the text at the top for liquid nitrogen.
yeah, so you store liquid nitrogen in here. This is your vaporizer at the bottom.
That's just part of a vaporizer. That's not the vaporizer, the main one they would use. This one would be to pressurize the tank itself.
Oh yeah, your back pressurization. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And don't really know what most of this other stuff is, but yeah, this is interesting to see for sure. I was actually here when this one got delivered, but is there? Hold on, there's some other stuff in Sanchez I wanted to take a look at from this angle. Maybe. Just kidding. Oh, we had the transport stand out here as well too, which I think we talked about. I don't know if you guys talked about it last week.
Yeah, it's got the pins. It had one last week. Now it has both.
Yeah, so they got both pins installed. It looks like they're about to install the walkway railing. I believe this is actually for Booster 7.
Yeah, this is Booster 9's transport stand. Now it's going to Booster 7 because Booster 7 switched with 9. It's all sorts of funny.
Do-si-do, round and round we go.
Yes. But the thing that I'm really excited for is the future Booster 9 will need something different. Instead of a plate system like this, or they can extend the plate, it looks like. You can look at that left side there. They can extend it so that it will touch the booster by extending this plate on the left. They just put in a in-between piece for that part. I just noticed that now, which would allow them to connect to Booster 9 without rebuilding this system, because they need an extender for what Booster 9 would need in
Right.
order to have the pins, because it does not have the what was
HPU.
that, the HPU? Yeah.
Or they could just put an extender on the pin, or change the pin out to a much longer pin.
Well, that's what we're doing. It's that right there is a plate that's got a pin. You just extend that out to a longer pin or the plate itself, and it's
Now I see
really
what you're
simple.
talking about. Yeah, that is simple.
Interesting.
Yeah, you'll have to do something similar to that, or replace parts on the launch table for Booster 9.
I love that this is all just industrial, like trailer hitches. And I mean, it's crazy that, oh yeah, let's just transport this giant space infrastructure using, I don't know, a trailer hitch.
Well, the trailer hitch is just for the alignment. It's just that last little bit that they need.
There's some rusty steel and an old hydraulic line.
Hey, I love this transport stand. I think these are pretty amazing. Um,
Oh yeah, by all means, don't take what I'm saying as criticism. It's high praise.
excuse me. So we have this the building on the back side of the Mega Bay. You can see that they got the wall up, or most of the wall up on this one side. They haven't done it on this side yet. But one of the cool things that we see from the aerial view, actually, I'll swap over to that, is that the you can see where the stairway will be coming up for this building. So this will definitely be like accessible for office space or something. Probably they have. It looks like they're about to pour concrete up here as well too. So they'll have a
Yeah.
concrete floor up there. Which is,
So one thing to mention is that I got this wrong last week. I said stairs, but I should have said elevators are in the corners of Wide Bay, on both of these back corners. And so if you basically have a perforation at least at the height level of a door at one of these, or one or both of these corners, it would allow easy access for people to go in and out that way as well.
yeah, we haven't seen like looking at the ground image yet. I was hoping that maybe they had like cut a hole through this back wall or something already, but I can't see anything in there.
Not yet. The closest I've seen, it's either, no, it wasn't on this building. It was the Star Factory. We'll get to that later, but they've been making some progress there. And oh, this thing is confusing me. Go back to that. There's 5. There's 5 places for connecting to the bottom of a what is that called? A thrust
Starship?
puck.
Oh,
Yeah.
So these would be where Raptors, like these would be the equivalent of a Raptor.
I
In
count
fact,
6.
so look at the base. You can look at the base. There's 1 on each side, and then 3 in the middle. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll be able to see it that way. And they're pistons. They're hydraulic pistons for like can crusher type activity.
Yeah,
Or
that's
you can see inside
that's
the can crusher.
that's exactly what this is. This is a modular RAM piece for the can crusher. So rather than installing all 13 RAMs, they just have like 3 segments that they can install.
I'm laughing because it looks like it's completely different geometry from that one perspective. Now we look at it, it's all spread out. It's like, oh, okay, this makes it so much easier to work with.
Yeah. So rather than having to put mount points inside of the can crusher and installing all the RAMs, it's just these like big modular segments that they can lift in. It's pretty sharp.
Yeah, pretty interesting there. I do remember, yeah, when they had that in the initial inside the can crusher for the longest time, but I don't know if they ever. Oh, they did use that. They used it to test Booster 7. But wow, looks like they finally. I don't know if they did this week or last week, but they finally got this door looking nice on the Star Factory. Remember the side panel was off for the longest time. Now
Fit
it
and
looks,
finish is finally done. Nice.
yeah, we have the front of this building over here is nearing completion. They got a bunch of windows on that, which we should also be able to see from the aerial view once I get us over there. I'll do that in a second because I'm not sure exactly where I put that image. Actually, it's probably right here. Spiffy.
Oh, so the plywood is probably permanent.
I hope not.
No, there's
We'll
like
try
it's
to
going to
put them
be
over
put
it.
siding over it, but
Yeah.
it's there for structural reinforcement of the glass, I suspect.
Right. Yeah. You put your paneling over the middle of that. I think they have it, but I saw some down here for it. No. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. It'll be, I'm sure that it'll probably stay black as well too, which it looks pretty nice. I just noticed that they also have windows on the side of it, so that's cool. They don't have any windows on the actual Star Factory building itself, so at least somebody will feel like they're not in a prison. And
Well,
let's
this is
see
like
if
the front office where the managers work anyway, so
yeah, for sure,
they get the office view.
definitely.
I was hoping this would be for heat shield tiles, and this would be perfect for what looks to be like a giant version of a flap with, it's black and grid fins are black, so it would work.
I was looking for some more ground image. I thought we had some more ground images.
Yeah, we do. There's even a really good picture of a worker
On the roof.
he's on the roof, and it's really kind of stacked. It's pretty funny because I looked at it, was like, what kind of small thin ledge is he on? No, it's that entire huge roof. It's just Mauricio's at the perfect angle where it looks like he's got 3 feet or a foot of ledge he's just standing on, and he's sitting there caulking the roof itself.
I feel like the image is not in here. Unless it's way at the end. Did you have to walk into the wetlands to get that one, Mauricio? Or to the back bay?
I think Mauricio's
You heard
not
me.
going to
Okay.
talk.
Yeah, sorry.
He's
I'm
actually
trying
not
to
even here.
Yeah, he's here.
While you're doing that, though, I can read off some donations because, again, we have very generous people in chat.
And yes, it was in the back bay. And go ahead, Newstar.
No problem. We want to thank, and we definitely want to thank all of the generous donations. Let's start off with Jacqueline, who started off with 11 euros and says, very nice, thank you all. Then $10 from Pecan Pie Prophet, who is Rocket
It's just
Prophet
truly right there. You go.
in disguise. He donated $10 and says, train departing, all aboard for fantastic picks. Yazada with $10, keep Mauricio in the air. Peen what? $10, all aboard. Jim Cabot, $5. Jake Winlow, $10. So many donations, so kind of you all.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who's donated today. We really appreciate that. You guys are amazing every single week, so thank you all again. So doing some sealant work on the corner up here, looks like.
Yeah, you can see on the right they've already done a lot of caulking. So what they're trying to do is prevent water penetration into the structure below.
I like how you
This
say
is like
caulking.
4 days worth of caulking. They had to come back 4 separate times to do this. You can see the layers, if that's what I think it is.
Yeah, it's at least 2 pieces or something. I'm not sure about that center part. That's kind of weird, but they've got like some sort of rubber gasket around it.
So a layer of caulking, a rubber gasket,
here,
more
down there.
caulk, more rubber.
I thought this was like, never mind.
You thought it was just a whole pile of caulk?
Just circling around it multiple times. Like, wow, that's new.
They just took a bucket of caulk and dumped it there.
It's yeah.
One way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. So before I show any more of the, I'll do it. This is Jack's favorite parts. So we got some more updates from inside of the actual manufacturing facility, or AKA the.
Hey Zach, you know what? This week, let's skip all these rings and shit. I mean, who really cares? We've seen them all before.
You said ship, right?
Ships. Yeah.
Oh, that one hurt.
That was just for you, Jax. I was just kidding.
Did you hear the air escape from his lungs as you were speaking?
Yes.
Well, look, once you've seen one ship, you've seen them all, right? They're all the
Bite
same.
your tongue, Grandpa Joe.
Oh,
Pure
boy.
For anybody who doesn't get it, that was pure sarcasm. I'm a ship guy myself.
These clouds are kind of in our way. I think the ground images are really good this week for talking about this. So let's start from left to right, I guess.
Well, let's start with the image we were just looking at.
Oh
If you-
man,
and then let Jax take it away.
no, we're starting here. We're super out of order. Mid-bay.
Okay, Jax, go for it.
Cool. So, on the left, you have ugly nose number 1, ship 26. It's coming along pretty well. Yeah, I don't think there's been much change since last week, very noticeably. Yeah, it's coming along. On the right, we have ship 27's tank section. Yeah, that doesn't look all too different from last week either. Just sort of moving along. I think that ship 25 might have taken priority when that rolled back, so they might not be working on this all too much.
Right, they should be doing engine install right now on 25, right?
Yeah, that's probably like the main priority for them.
Okay. And 25 is I'm gonna go left to right here. So stop me if we have these relics outside. So this would be a booster forward section for booster 10.
Oh, this is an interesting one.
Oh wait. This is the test tank, right?
This is the brand new test tank.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you follow the Ring Watchers on Twitter, we posted about this a day or two ago, and this was that test tank section in the Star Factory we talked about last week, and I jokingly called it 7.1.1. But that name isn't so fitting now that we know what the test tank actually is. So we've kind of unofficially named it Test Tank 13. And if you want to know why,
I
it's
want to know
because it's
why.
the 13th test tank.
Really?
It's the 13th 9-meter wide test tank. So it's Test Tank 13. Not much else to just say about that.
Wait, what do you call the boppers? Are those test tanks or not?
We counted the boppers, but not the headers.
Okay.
Are
But
you going
yes.
to retroactively go relabel all the prior test tanks in order?
I'm curious what
so
a
yeah,
bopper is.
Well, I guess Thomas, if you want to talk about the
Bopper was
boppers.
the back of it. SN1 had its accident. They started going testing a lot of tanks to basically reassure the welds that they were providing these vehicles they were structurally sound. So they were popping a bunch of tanks as well as header tanks. They were testing all sorts of vehicles or vehicle components and popping them. So that's why they would be called boppers.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah. So this new test tank is made out of it has a forward dome that tells us it's going to be for the can crusher with all the reinforcements it has. Then the bottom dome is a ship aft section with a normal ship aft dome, and it's actually this aft section was modified to be more like ship 24. So it tells us that they're verifying everything before the orbital flight. And if you scroll down just a little bit and zoom in,
Before. So they'll have to test this before the first orbital flight?
yeah, that's what we believe. So this was originally the aft section for ship 28. And weeks ago we had seen it was weird because if you scroll up just a little bit, you can see marks where they cut off stringers. And you can see where they've ground them down. So that strip of external stringers that goes over the dome weld, they cut it in half. Yeah, they took off half of it, which is how it is on ship 24. They had redesigned it after ship 24. So they did that, and that right away, I was like, okay, this thing isn't for ship 28. Whatever it was, it's been reassigned. So now we know it's for this test tank that's going to be put on the can crusher. They're just gonna, hopefully it goes well.
Well, that makes me really cringe that they took off the doublers because one thing that happens is when you weld like this, you basically weaken the material around the weld a bit. And so now that you've taken off the doubler, it's weaker than it should be if you didn't do that weld to begin with.
Yeah, it's I guess they think it's fine, so I trust that. But
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
fine.
Do we have images of what this looked like before? I don't have it on me. I don't know when they took that off.
I posted a tweet about it, so I could send you the tweet.
Yeah, let me get that up really quick.
Or it's on the Ring Watchers, not my account. Never mind. One
Pull that up,
second.
no worries. But continue on while I grab that. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Zach's driving here.
So, we have, this is the before and afters, right?
Yeah. So if you've maximized that photo, you can see on the left, that's what ship 26 and after has this much wider strip over the dome. And then you can see in the second photo, that strip had just been cut back halfway, and now the stringers were exposed on the top half. You can see it's almost like they're lines with dots on them.
Right here.
And yeah. Then in the next photo, they had cut off the exposed stringers, which basically reverted it to the ship 24 style.
Interesting. So this is just basically like a strip that goes over the entire.
So you know how over, like, let's say the common dome on a booster, there are external stringers?
Yeah.
It's similar to that, except on the ships, they just put a strip of steel over top, and that's how they can do the tiles and everything.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
So
Think of it like a rubber band, though, because the tank itself wants to expand out, and this will help prevent that a bit.
Interesting.
So
An
Mike,
expansion band, almost like it'd be like more like a retention band, but I'm trying to
A
think of
little bit.
a better way to explain that. Interesting.
I think you
So coming back,
explained it correctly when you said retention band. Do you have an ETA on when you think they're going to do the testing? Mike Smith is actually asking.
Ooh.
or orbital.
Yeah,
No,
it's
he's
before
asking
the
about the test for the test tank.
Yeah, so it'll be before the orbital flight. I'd say I'm pretty certain of that. But they have so many things that need to go on the can crusher now. They have B6.1, they have the other aft for the can crusher. They have this. They just have a lot in the queue right now, so I'm not sure.
Huh.
Fair enough.
And so, was there anything more you wanted to add on this one?
No, I don't think there's much. We'll see that come
This
out
right
to
here,
play.
does this go? This attaches to the that tank that goes on top of it, right?
Yeah, that can attach to the tank. Yeah.
Okay.
They could attach that to the tank. They could put a vent stack. They could put anything really.
It's funny, for a bit I was thinking that there was just the downcomer, but it still could be the downcomer, and they've just repurposed it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So the in the high bay, we have 25 in there chilling, probably getting engines installed.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if there's anything else new with this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything major that's visually changed on the exterior for that. It seems pretty much the same.
But the fit and finish looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I was looking for some straight on images into the high bay to see that this week. I think there must have been some clouds in the way, so I don't see any. Oh, wait, here we go. Kind of. So we have 25 and 26 back here. Wait,
25 on the left, 26 on the right.
does it have flaps?
I think that's just an illusion. That does really look like.
Are you sure?
What do you thinking is the flap that you're seeing. That
Maybe this is 25 slap that I'm seeing here.
that's 25. And then on the right, you're just seeing a reflection of the tank itself. So there's like a light in the corner that's probably on.
So there's no mounting no mounting hardware for flaps, right? At all.
No, not on the aft. They welded the hole shut where the actuators go.
It's gonna look funny. It'll look cool, actually. I mean, in a way, without having any flaps on it, it'll just look like a massive, like, super heavy caliber round, sitting on top of the launch mount. Like, it would actually look pretty cool, I think.
What I think I can say for now is that we have shift 26 and 27 without flaps and tiles. It's looking like we might have a third coming up. So that's fun.
Why? What makes you say that?
Ship 29 is not following what we normally would expect to see. It is.
Do we have any images from that for?
We can talk about it over in the nose yard.
Yeah. Let's from the ground.
Let's do the aerial because it had moved inside by the ground photos.
Wait, you say the nose yard? You mean over here?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay,
sorry, I'm just used to calling it that.
Let's see. I think I have. It'd be right here. Kind of.
The little triangular windbreak building.
They finally got rid of Ship 26's Pez dispenser that was sitting there.
About that, they put it into. Yeah, it's in there.
Oh.
They put it in Ship 28?
They put it in Ship 29's payload bay.
Oh my god.
Unfinished. So that one ruined my day for that one. But then it was almost like they were building, rather than assembling the Pez dispenser outside, it's like they were assembling it inside, which was very, very strange.
Do you think it could just be a test build? Because that particular variety isn't capable of holding as many Starlinks or just being capable as the newer Pez dispensers are.
I'm not sure what they have planned. Maybe they'll make it work. I don't know exactly what the plan is. Maybe it's a new design. Who knows? Who knows? But
is it possible that the actual Pez dispenser is now a structural element? Like the base of it is now a structural element of the nose cone?
I think it might have been to begin with, possibly, maybe. I'm not sure for sure.
Yeah, because if you think about it, there's no domes up there. But at the top, it has the actual nose cone to be the forward structural element essentially. But there's nothing on the bottom. So I have a feeling that the Pez dispenser loader, at least the base of it, takes the place of a dome as far as structural integrity goes.
Well, so the thing you have to remember is that they've cut a hole that's almost 7 meters wide, maybe a bit more, that they have to be able to bring that load element around it, and the Pez dispenser is the only element that will allow to do that. So they are using it structurally to that extent, at least.
Yeah, so the reason we think that Ship 29 is weird is that Pez dispenser stuff, all Pez dispenser stuff, happens after TPS pins go on. That is how it's always been, and every time that hasn't happened, the ships are weird. This Pez dispenser stuff is going in before pins on Ship 29. So that does suggest that something is up. Could always be a procedural change. But from what we've observed to date, that doesn't ever be, that's never the case.
Is it possible that they were damaging the tiles while they're welding this thing in there?
Well, they didn't put on the tiles until after, but they welded the pins on.
Well, you could be misaligning the pins as well by doing that.
You could, but we've never really seen them have to do mass cutting and re-welding. I don't know if we've really seen anything to suggest that.
Well, the pins themselves would be in the same location in general. So the tiles would still work, but now you have gaps or areas that are a bit more wedged than they should be.
And while that may very well be the case, that doesn't. It's just the order in which they're doing things, and it's a plethora of things. It's not normal.
We're in mystery territory right now.
So,
Yeah.
Jax, there are a couple of people that are curious. Did you say no flaps, no tiles on ship 25 as well?
No,
Or did you...
25 has flaps. I'm saying we're ship 29. We're looking at. We're not sure.
And 26 and 27 already lack those things.
Then ship 28 is normal.
Yep.
But at least ship 27 has a payload dispenser. It has the Pez dispenser on that one, right?
Yeah.
So at least we can launch some Starlinks and get that system going with Starship. It's just really weird with 29 that they're going back to this older style of Pez dispenser. I think it's kind of scrapped in the back of my mind. It's like, this is a production test of how they can do things a little bit differently, and they're using this old article to test it out. That's just kind of what I'm going to spitball our guess about.
Where is it?
Yeah, it moved into tent 3 just the morning before Mauricio took the photos.
Okay.
I mean, at some point, a lot of these design decisions. I mean, a ring barrel is a barrel. It's 4 rings stacked on top of each other. Now, when you got stringers and multiple supports installed, that's where the real differences are. But yeah, loading that Pez dispenser in there, that's something kind of new that they're going to have to work out.
Wait, is one of these new?
I kind of remember that one being there before. I mean, or maybe I was thinking of that one.
This one was here.
Common and forward.
And then there's a third one at the bottom.
I think these are some of the clearest pictures of these I've ever seen.
You should see the renders. on the way. I'm trying to see if there's more down here because there's more under construction. Matter of fact, let's go look up at the aerial view really quick just so we can discuss this, because I do want Jax's opinion on this one. So usually I don't. Just kidding. So there's some new platforms outside. I think you guys probably touched on them last week. That was a joke, Jax. You don't have to be sad. So we have the more aerial platforms that are out here now, and they have extendable work platforms on them. I mean, it's like a platform inception, I guess. Here's a good one. Maybe. Cool. So you can see that they slide back and forth in here.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that the diameter here may be larger than the other ones in the past, and so these are actually for these are for the lower parts of the booster while it's fully stacked. So sorry, not fully stacked, with stringers, COPVs and strakes.
Yeah.
Strakes and chines, right? So like with the chines on there, it would you couldn't back it all the way up against the semicircular wall or whatever, because you would crush them. So I have a feeling that this is meant to stop like with the booster out here, and then these extend to the side of the booster if they don't have the chines installed.
Well, I can actually pull inwards. It looks like if you look at the platform above.
Yeah, this one right here, this looks like this is extended. So this looks like 9 meters right here. These are much larger than 9 meters. In order to allow this to be 9 meters when it extends out.
But yeah, it looks like it could go in or out. So that's a really cool feature.
Yeah, I would love to see these from the ground. I wonder if they have, I'm sure they have little motors in there. It would explain why they've taken so long on these ones. I'm having trouble trying to figure out how many of these they've built, because they've moved them in and out of the build. They've been lifting some this week, or last week when I was out there, I watched them lift one of the platforms up in there. And so now I'm a little bit confused with how many there are. And the front side particularly, it's hard to tell. And the amount of walkways that they have to go in between these walkways and stairs. These stairs, oh snap. Okay, these are the stairs that get them up to the roof. I've been looking for those for a while. See if we can see them from another angle. Walkway, walkway, walkway. These are stairs, and these are stairs right here. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting because they have to be able to get up to the roof from the actual stairs, because right now the stairs don't get them onto the roof. Into the actual, I guess we can call this the roof, or I like to think of it as mission control too. So mission control area up there. You can only get up there by elevator right now. There's no stairs to get up there yet. So the stairs stop right about at this level down here. And then these will get them the rest of the way up to the top once they're installed. But right now there's only one elevator that goes up there, I believe. The second one has not been installed either. That one is sitting in the Sanchez lot, waiting to be installed, which I'm not going to go all the way back there. Yes, I will. Here it is. This is the elevator right here, the second elevator, sitting all of the rails waiting to go into the building. So I'm not sure what the delay is on that. Maybe it's because there's a huge scaffolding thing set up in the back left corner of the building. But yeah, no idea. Is that still back there, Jax?
Actually, I'm not sure.
So we wouldn't be able to see it, and so there's a front-facing scaffolding set, and there's another one in the back, right?
There should be, yeah. But I can't remember if they took it down or not.
I don't think there's any good angles of that this week. But I think there's some more stuff over here at the ground fabrication building that we wanted to definitely touch on before we move away from the Star Factory area. And actually, sorry, Jax, was there anything I missed in the grounds that you wanted to cover?
In the grounds.
Anything related to the ships?
I don't think so. We covered a fair amount. I think we're good.
Man, I'm always hoping there's going to be... What is that?
That's the weird mystery object. It looks like it's around a 9 meter or maybe more length. It's really weird.
Is this like the thing we saw at the Sanchez site?
No, I don't.
That one had bolts, and it was a bit more curved and shorter for this end.
That wasn't outside during the flyover. Hold on. That was funny. I was literally about to say I'm always hoping there's going to be something outside, outside of the ground fab building.
Oh, it is curved. Wow.
Yeah.
But from that angle, it looked like it's just a triangle piece, and it kind of might be, but then it is curved for the rest of the way.
Wait, that's the same thing?
Yeah. It's just
Holy
they've
smokes.
got a piece of equipment on the left-hand side that it's like sitting right next to it. Really makes it confusing. But
Holy cow.
yeah, there's two pieces of equipment on that one. There's this old piece and this new one.
Where's the other end of this?
The other to the right.
I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm.
So if he pans over to the right, he'll see the other end. Right there.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't even look for it. Yeah, this is obviously not vehicle related. It's probably some... Oh. I know what this is. Is this a cover for the... This goes on the Pez dispenser loader. Yeah. So this goes on the front of the Pez dispenser loader and allows it to butt up against the ship, so that when they lift it up there, it's not. So let me see the forks, or I guess, or what do you want to call them? Do we have a good picture of the Pez dispenser loader right now?
There should be some. I think at what was it? the integration side, or maybe that was from Chief. Sorry.
Weird how things just appear in your head like that sometimes. But yeah, I'm pretty positive that's what it. Did you already know that, Thomas?
That this was for that? No, I just knew that it looked like it was about the 9-meter diameter that we're. I didn't see the aerial view, so that really cinches it.
I mean, there's not many other things that it really could be used for, I guess, and it's really
this would be this is acting as what we're thinking of. Like they would need a bellows of some sort to connect the two. This is more of a hard connection point, and you would want to put something as a soft connection point between the ship and the PEZ loader, and then you will make a seal between the two of them so that it will not introduce any contaminants, or will reduce the amount of contaminants that you're introducing. And it looks like they've got 2 different access holes. Those are probably access plates on the left and the right.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll probably just go to the mechanism itself, so they can monitor it or open it up and be like, oh, okay, it just needs a bit of a whack with a hammer, and now it's back on track.
Dang, this thing is super late. Like this is like what, 4 or 5 months late at this point. I guess they haven't really necessarily needed it that much, but this is one of the things that made me think that the PEZ dispenser loader wasn't what we thought it was, because it didn't have this on the front of it. So yeah, interesting to finally see them get that ready to go.
Look at the aerial shot again real quick, just to confirm like what we are saying is correct. Because if it doesn't have a hole at the top of it to allow the Starlinks through, it's like, okay, that kills it. No, it's got the hole. It's perfect.
Straight through it.
Huh. It was actually PK who thought of it, who made the suggestion. I feel like he.
Oh. Well, for the record, I didn't hear his suggestion. So.
Neither did
I. No, you weren't there. You weren't there.
Neither of us were, apparently.
You were. It was a rocket talk. Anyways, neither here nor there.
So there's other interesting parts down here as well too. I don't know if this is the beginnings of. Nah, I was thinking this may be related to like the stabilizer pins potentially. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. I can't tell if it's an actual frame down there. But there's another cool thing that is over here, which I'm always looking for stuff in this area because they got all this steel chilling out here, and you can see that they've been busy laser cutting not laser cutting, but milling out these shapes into these plates, and they're all stacked up right here. And right now there's only 6 of them, but who knows how many more there are that are actively being cut inside the building. These look like relatively thin sheets of steel because this is pretty bent up right here, but it's definitely structural plating for something. I mean, with that Starlink dispenser loader piece being constructed right now, and it's kind of made out of the same gauge steel, it is possible it could be related to that. But I'm holding out hope that this is also some covering for the launch mount. And yeah, we have some more updates on launch mount covering as well too. But there's also some panels down here, these gray panels, which I believe could potentially be for parts of the integration tower. But I'm not sold on that one yet. But that is pretty much the only other things that I saw down here, other than
what's that platform next to the bathrooms? I don't seem to recognize that. No, yeah, down right there.
This.
No, down. That.
Yes.
Yeah, it's looks like a platform.
That's what they store the.
Oh my gosh, it's not. It's
the thrust puck.
It's the angle.
Oof, man, I almost had to boot you from the stream, Thomas.
That was just this oval, but yeah.
Where is it?
It's so disorienting on that angle.
In fact, I think it was even pointed out on the stream just before this one. Because it's for the new booster.
12, I think. I'm guessing.
14.
Close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. They're super far ahead. Let me see if there's anything else interesting in here. Jax, did you see the Pez dispenser loader thing, or were you gone for that?
No, sorry, I did see that. Yeah, that's an interesting piece.
I wish this was a little bit clearer if that garage door was down, but what else do we got down here? Oh, the grid fins are still sitting down there. I don't know if I have a good.
Will those grid fins ever move? Oh, wait,
I'm not
they're
sure.
gone.
Oh, they're not there.
Yeah, I don't know where they went.
Hooray!
Ship 10?
They got replaced with other mystery objects, which are.
Now, those are the plates that I think were cutouts that you looked at from the other side earlier.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so those are similar shapes to the cutouts that we had earlier on the right-hand side.
I think these are aluminum.
Yeah, there's a steel plate up there. Not those ones. That's never mind. I guess those are different.
Well, there's multiple plates getting things cut out of them up here.
Yeah, this is just a scrap area of other plates, and you reuse the scraps because you've got extra room on them to be able to do that.
I feel like these are like sheets they use for constructing other things. So in particular, the shields for the launch mount, for the legs of the launch mount, were most likely constructed in this building out of those
What?
plates.
Look at those gray pieces. They are the launch mount gray. Look at those.
That's what I was thinking as well too. This does look launch mount gray, and it seems similar to the plates that are on the base of the tower. But yeah, that would be weird. I couldn't think of why they would. I mean, they could be shim plates for the tower. That'd be crazy if they were. If they needed shim plates for the tower right now. Oh man. Hold on. Let's check something really quick. Let me pull up some images from Fariel and see if we have the pictures of the base plates for the new launch tower. We can probably compare these to those and see if. Oh, okay. It's not how I wanted to open that up, but see if we can find it in here. Skip over to the screen. Oh man. So there's singles. Oh wait, it's two double sets on each side. I can't really tell. That looks like singles and doubles, double row. Single, single, double, double. Okay, so now let's go back and look at.
Where do you see double double?
There's a row right here, and a row
Gotcha.
right here,
Yes,
and then
you're
there's
right.
a row right there.
Definitely right.
And
they're just singles all over.
Yeah, they're just singles all around. So,
but that would be like lifting up the
row,
entire integration tower, which is concrete. That's not going to happen.
Well, it's not. So if you think about if you look at the actual plates themselves, where was I? So the bolts that come out, actually the bolts come through the base, right? And they stick these slide on top of the bolts. So I don't think you could ever like remove bolts and slide something underneath this. So I was just hoping that that's not what it was. So I think we can safely say that it's not. But yeah, still an interesting piece all the while. We will keep an eye on those. Also, some weird. These look like they're hand making a crane or something, like the block of a crane.
I'm trying to determine if they're all squares and we're just missing the shape because of a little bit of pixelation, or if they're odd shapes.
That's even worse. I don't think I have any. This will probably be the best one we have. Nope, that was probably the same one we were looking at just now, actually.
Yeah, but it's still good enough to kind of tell that they are a general shape of square, rounded edges. Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Very interesting. Yeah, so I guess we'll find out what those are here soon. They probably just put them outside for us to throw us off and get us to start thinking about them. But we are going to move on to the northern side of the production site, or the village, as I like to call it. And
We got solar panels.
yeah, got some solar panels. We still see the same construction happening with these tiny homes down here. I think there's this base right here is new. This one's been there forever. They're starting another one right here. They have still the same trailers out here, which will probably go side by side in this lot that they're constructing right here.
Should they
Similar.
build things into the ground like they did on Starbase for structure support? See the 6 squares
The
on
house,
yeah.
for the actual modular houses, they do. For the trailers, they just put a grass pad down. And on this one, they didn't even put a grass pad. They just put a little deck, and they put the containers on top. So I think it'll be very similar over here. These will just be longer ones. So I don't know. These are for like people who are singles. Yeah, like a girlfriend, whatever, you get the double wide or something like that. Or these ones probably have like kitchens in them. These may just be like almost like a
Maybe it's temporary housing,
a-
like when you go
yeah,
on a work
bedroom.
exactly. Like you're just there for like a day type
trip.
thing.
Yeah, or if you're there
Um,
for a week.
Yeah,
of
a week
sitch.
you stay in this one, and if you need like a kitchen and all that stuff.
Go eat at the Mars bar.
Yeah, this will allow them to surge way harder than they did in the past, and so is this as well. Let's go look at this on the north side.
Wow, they put brand new sod last week on that hotel.
Oh yeah, they
Well,
did. Oh, that'll be, if they don't make temporary housing out of this as well too, I'll be very surprised. But in the back
that
side,
is so green, it looks fake.
yep, sure. They got some sod or some turf down here. And so we'll probably see rows of these trailers back here, and I will not be surprised if they expand all the way down there. It'll make,
Surprising, because we had a bunch of construction material here
it's
that was
gone.
meant for a building, and it's gone. So
Well, one thing, Thomas, if you look at these over here, it could be possible that they were like deck material. To like
Oh,
well, it
when
could
we
be that it was for a
saw
building
it.
that was
build
not
decks
here.
around these.
Yeah, because we saw that deck material laying around.
Yeah, if they put a deck around this, I wouldn't be surprised. But they have a large number of these
Okay.
things right here. These are all of them right here. They look different from this angle, but they're the same little house things that are on the trailers. There's
Wait, could those be lifted and placed into
That's what I
the
was
old
wondering.
hotel?
Look at this.
whoa!
They fit
Shut up.
perfectly too. It looks like they would.
Oh my god! Hold on. There's
Thomas,
no way.
you got to measure it later.
Let's see if we.
Well, the problem is that you have two different angles that you're looking at that are compressing them.
No way.
I guess it's too wide, but it could be. It
Well,
sure
it's
does
got the
look like it.
trailer. You have to
Look.
not have the trailer.
Hovercraft.
Yeah, the hovercraft there. There's this one, and then there's one at the back of. Well, we're already looking at the integration site here, so might as well bring that up. They're moving workers back and forth from South Padre Island with hovercraft. So it looks like they've been moving this one around. So I suspect they've been moving both of them. So the other one, if you go to the far right and up, there's this hovercraft here. This is their area that they're staging at. So they get off to the volleyball court.
Wow, are you serious? They're really transporting people back using hovercraft?
Yeah, about
That is so cool.
like 6 or 7 times a day at least with that particular one. Yeah, this hovercraft right here. We've got footage of it. Maria's been tracking it, as well as gentleman. I'd have to pull up the YouTube channel again real quick. He's been really doing a great job of tracking this particular hovercraft.
How does it get? Hold on, I need to.
There's a video. I could bring that up if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. And I'm gonna also get a longer distance image to see if I can. I just want to see where they exit at.
Okay, here, hold on. This will take just second. So they're exiting, just right into the mud. And this is the YouTube channel. So it's Michael Farrell. He's been keeping in track of this hovercraft. So they have a marine radar tracking on it as well. So there it is coming off of South Padre. And if you look up towards if you scroll forward, actually, he goes to the location directly. Yeah, so it's that yellow dot there.
So they come. Okay, hold on. I want to see the whole path. So they come up through here and out.
Yep. Okay, there is a perfect view of it. So it's up there. He tracks it with a drone up until he gets closer to the no-fly zone, and he's actually like 2 miles away before he stops, and he tracks it all the way here. And it's just amazing to watch
Look at that.
go, because it goes at this other angle when it tries to change directions. Because it just has so much momentum.
Yeah, you just drift it.
It's like those.
Yeah, and they go over muddy spots and places that need to be dredged.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love how it's just sideways.
That looks so fun.
You know those big swamp ones with the big fans? That's what that reminds me of.
But I guess that there's a good chance there's like VIPs like Shotwell who might use this if they're living in South Padre or I don't know if she's moved.
You're saying
I think she's still in California, but
well, I don't think even if she's out there, it's going to be a permanent move. I think she probably will have multiple houses. My question is, didn't you just say this is for the employees though, to get around?
Yeah, this would be employees because they've done at least like 6 or 7 a day transports with the hovercraft, so it's very useful. It doesn't damage the flats. You can't use ATVs, and I just love this part. It goes over this dry spot.
Oh wow, dude! I bet you anything they got like 5 more of these on order right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just an incredible machine.
That's what a hovercraft is for.
It does what it's supposed to.
Yeah, that is awesome.
And it goes fast. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Yeah, it is definitely not slow. That's for sure.
So it saves them over 40 minutes plus whatever traffic jams you'd have per day. So instead of going over the bridge and taking a 45-minute to 50, well, actually it'd be more like an hour and 20-minute drive, this takes maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Now they're at Starbase.
PK was saying that when they're returning at the end of the day, when they're trying to cross the bridge and get over it, it's an hour and a half wait because you have to go through border control and like clear the fact that there's nobody in the car and all that good stuff. So your drive home is killer. So this is a huge time saver.
Way faster. That's awesome. Yeah, I would not be surprised if they get more of those. Really cool. Thanks for sending that to me, Thomas. That is awesome. And we will. I saw some. Oh wow! Let's look at that zoom out. I saw some folks asking about the link for this in the chat, so I will go ahead and toss that in there for y'all. As long as you don't leave and go there instead. Just kidding. So 1 second as I post this in the chat really quick.
But yeah, so they have also been building a fence as well along that edge there. So that's new. You can see the vehicle if you want to zoom in, just in that same area as the boat or the hovercraft.
So you've been building what?
It looks like a fence, or maybe it could be a tree line that they're putting in right there.
So where do they? So then they walk out here, and then the bus probably picks them up.
Yeah, there's been several vehicles just above your mouse towards the tree line there, in the middle. There you go, right there. Nope, there. So they will have vehicles sitting there waiting.
Nice. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up having like the bike racks over here at some point as well too.
Hey, Zach, not to rush, but it is almost 2:30, and we still haven't hit the launch site.
Nobody cares about the launch site.
I know, right?
We will get there. Thank you for the reminder. I'll just check in with this building right here really quick and make sure we don't have anything new here.
The windows are pretty new, but they've been for a while on the BFC shed. So it's no longer a shed because it's an office and no longer holds the BFC. But that's what
you're right. When I went in there, when I was down there, I was like, "What is this building?" Because I've never seen it before. And yeah, it is a full office, and I was kind of confused why I've never seen it before, and I forgot that it used to be the shed. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, I think that may be everything down here. Got another new parking lot.
they're prepping. Looks like the soil around here for some additional. Looks like conduit or maybe drainage.
Maybe they need a better place to park the Starlink loader when they drive in the Starlinks, which they did this week. They had a Starlink offload here, which requires them to first move the actual Pez dispenser loader out of the building first so they can drive the truck in. Hilarious. On that note, actually, I do have just a few images from someone on Twitter who sent me some images when they from where they actually ship these from. So let me show those to you guys really quick. Oops, wrong image. Wrong image again. I'm struggling. Here we go. So this is what the Pez dispenser loader looks like, or not the Pez. Wow, the the trailer that they use to ship the Starlinks, and this is in. Oh, I can't remember which state it is. I'm not going to open up the DM right now since I'm in here, but yeah, this is the actual same trailer before they send out the Starlinks. So yeah, they have this facility out there, and this guy actually is able to know when they're leaving, and that's how I knew this one was showing up, because he just happened to see it leave. So cool.
Does that
Anyway,
say man on the side of it? Or van? Sorry, squirrel.
pan. Just kidding. Pan left. Cool. But yeah, I just wanted to show that to you guys really quick, and I think maybe now is a good time for us to hop over to the launch site. So let's do that. Before we get too deep into the launch site stuff, if you all have not hit the like button, please do us a favor and do that right now. We appreciate all of you. I think there's just over 600 of you in here. So we got about half of you who have hit the like button so far. And thanks to all of you who've done that. With that, it is launch site time.
I found the boom lift storage.
Oh,
Pad
wow.
A.
So yeah, this is kind of how you know that they were really serious about doing a static fire that day. It just didn't work out. So yeah, they have everything up here at Pad A. That's hilarious. I mean, that's a lot of equipment up in this area.
It's going to be a traffic jam getting out of that.
Agreed. One thing I'm curious about is, I don't know if this is new right here or not, but this
has been there for SN 5 and 6 area.
Okay, cool. So I wasn't sure if that was an addition similar to what they're doing over here. And one thing about the suborbital pad, you can see some scaffolding set up right here. This is what it looked like when Mauricio did his flyover.
So this will be Thursday.
Thursday, yes. And then yesterday, oops. Let's see if it's probably one of the first images. Boom. So this is what it looks like now. There's a ton of scaffolding being set up. You can see there's a bunch more like posts for them to tie in to extend it. This is a very large amount of scaffolding going around this the suborbital pad, and it's also, they started it on this side as well too. So I'm guessing they're doing it on all 6 of the legs potentially.
It's at least 270 degrees. I checked it out this morning on NerdleCam, and they continued it all throughout yesterday into last night.
So it goes all the way around, just basically to the QD.
Yeah. There was a crazy theory I had for it. It doesn't seem to be panning out because they basically stopped at the QD height. They don't care about anything above it. So it seems like the flaps are an interesting area that they want to work on. as well as just the QD system in that area. But like, why so much scaffolding? It's just beyond me. The crazy idea that I had that doesn't fit because they stopped. It only works if they continue going up. Is that it's a large wide base to work on fit and finish for a large chunk of the vehicle. They continue it all the way around for 360. But they have an engine that just came in last night, so they're going to be replacing an engine.
Yeah, they
How about that
removed.
one that got dent? Did they actually remove it?
Yeah, they removed it last night. Or like here, I gotta put the tweet for that. I think that was. Let's see here. So Vix actually sent this to me this morning, but I didn't see it until on Twitter. So this was one of the center engines leaving last night at around 11 p.m. This was the one that was basically damaged.
We're looking at the
Oh.
The other site.
So yeah, 11:14 p.m. they removed one of the engines, or it left the launch site, and then yeah, so that was the one that was damaged right here. Okay, yeah, so that's this one that they took out, I guess. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what happens with the suborbital pad. I've kind of been thinking that they may extend the base of it, like you were saying, potentially to allow for them to leave the flaps open when they're doing static fire testing without damaging them. So extend the entire pad so that it has more protection of things flying directly up in this at this angle. And with that being said, they could also potentially throw some like deflectors in. I don't know, just some random ideas of what they could be doing with this. But the other interesting things over here is that they have a new purge system installed on here. I think you guys probably talked about it last week. The Ultra Purge. I don't think we have images of it right now because the ship is on the actual test stand.
But yeah, we pointed that out last week. Thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's very similar to what they have. I think it's very similar to what they have on the launch mount right now, but it just their purge system on the suborbital stand wasn't enough. It doesn't really it hasn't really worked that well. I mean, it seems like they only had one for the this side of the flap, so all of the Raptor chill venting for this side would get shot up, but this side I don't remember ever seeing the purge working on this side. So I think they had to like drastically upgrade that purge system. But they also have begun to ran conduit around the outside of it.
No, that
So
conduit's been there since the beginning. This one.
this one's for the I don't think the cameras were protected with conduit. The wires for the camera were just wires that were
They had
ran.
some small conduit, some small gauge stuff, but it just ripped off.
Okay, so it's the conduit up here that's new then.
Yeah, that's a brand new piece there. You can see it on the flyover picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird how it's sitting there. I don't know if it's been basically bolted or welded down, or if that's just a temporary placement for it. You can see it right there, just sitting there.
Yeah, pretty odd the way that comes in there. I mean, oh, that's an interesting little gap right here. I don't like that. Looks like it allows debris to shoot up through here. This could. Initially, I thought maybe the purge was going through here too, but that's clearly conduit, so I don't think that's the case. Man, this is going to be really interesting to see once the next aerials, when they have all that scaffolding up. Hopefully, they don't take it back down before we get another flyover. But yeah,
Well, one thing they could be doing is fortifying the legs and other structure.
agreed.
That was one theory.
Weird that they would need scaffolding for all that, but I mean, whatever makes it easier, I suppose. It'll be definitely interesting to see what happens as that continues. But looking over at the rest of the suborbital site, I don't think there's much else happening over here.
Storage.
More storage, nothing new over there. I think that we could probably move over to the orbital tank farm. There's definitely new stuff over there.
It's kind of hard to see what's going
Oh.
on. A little bit of cloud.
Yeah, this is, man, I love, like I said, that Mauricio keeps getting up here while there's testing happening. So I think this is the third time he's done that. So right here, you can see that this was right before, this is right at the start of fuel loading, actually. So they had just started pumping methane and liquid oxygen into the booster at this point. And I feel like they had an issue during this test because it seemed like some of the pumps were underpowered, like specifically the liquid oxygen side was really odd. This last test, it's kind of hard to go into detail about that without actually showing you guys some video footage from it. And I don't think we have time for all that. But I do want to show one more side of this tank farm so we can discuss something that's happening over there. Oh, hey, look, I never realized this was the secondary storage site for all these.
It's
Yeah.
Uline's outpost.
They were super ready for that static fire.
That's what
I
a lot
mean-
of people are saying, that it looked like they were really going to do it, but for whatever reason, they didn't.
Well, Elon even gave a thumbs up to somebody saying, going for a booster static fire today in a tweet, and he gave a thumbs up. So either he's testing the Twitter algorithm, or he thought, yeah, they're probably going to go for a static fire today, and well, they scrubbed.
So, I mean, are you guys thinking that maybe Elon is thinking that they're being overly cautious and that's why he's shaking up the management there? Or because they've been going real slow, but maybe that's because there's good reason to be real cautious.
Well, from my own observations, and you take it with a grain of salt, but I watch a lot of live streams of Starbase like all the time, and I feel like I've gotten used to like the patterns that I see down there as far as when things pick up, and it's reached the point where like I can pretty much tell when Elon's on site by the activity on site. And so with that being said, over the last few weeks, I can tell that he hasn't been there either physically or mentally. He's basically inside of Twitter. Whether no matter where he's at, he's inside of Twitter. That's my opinion on that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, he has a business to run on that side. And at the same time, if a lot of people think that he's like rushing them down there, if that is the case, then in these moments, it gives them time to slow down and do things more methodically instead of trying to push the envelope, because Elon likes to push the envelope. And again, I'm saying this not from having personal experience, but just observation from what I've seen. But yeah, I don't see their pace as a bad thing. It's kind of good. The changes that they're making. One in particular, what we're seeing right here is the power upgrade to this facility. This one's a bit odd because I would have thought that they would have ran all of this conduit between these two locations ahead of time. And number one, no idea why they need conduit over here.
That looks weird, like meat or something.
So this is conduit coming from here to inside the building. I'm assuming that there will be a rack, another conduit rack, that these will connect to and probably go towards whatever junction box they'll end up putting down here, or transformer or whatever. But the other thing that's inside of this one, so we have conduits going in between these two buildings, which is also weird that wasn't there before.
Well, they did have a lot of conduit from the electrical bunker on the right to the fuel bunker on the left.
Yeah, it seems like they must have added something in. They must have added a lot of things into this building that weren't here before, and they just need more conduit for it.
Well, the top one is interesting because it looks like they've put the red concrete, and then there's something that's reflective, like a line itself. That's, I don't know what it is, but it's reflective. You can see it goes straight, but it seems like its high voltage lines were run through there. They decided they needed to do some high voltage stuff, and that's what's there now. And then they're going to concrete up the rest of it.
You know, one theory could be, I don't know. I've always thought that there'd be a bigger lighting system potentially at the tank farm. Like maybe this could be something related to that, like running power for, you know, bigger lighting system. But obviously, I think they're actually not allowed to do that, right? Upgrade their lighting.
They could upgrade their lighting, but they'd have to go through and get more approvals and things like that from the PEA for the FAA. Like they'd have to change things there. But I figured out what it was. It's actually a keep out like danger strap. That's what was reflective there. It's not power line or anything, but there is buried conduit that's red, so that's high voltage conduit that's going to be underneath there.
Yeah, weird that it comes out right below where the next kettle boiler is supposed to be, or where these kettle boilers are supposed to be. The other interesting thing is these sets of pipes that are coming out from the building right here.
Those were the helium lines, weren't those?
No. So these were not here before at all. Right now, what's happening is they're coming out and they go down into this ditch, and then they reemerge down here and go to this water tank. So I don't think this is water, mainly because it's insulated. I think this is something else, which I have a theory on it, but I'm going to wait until I see the next static fire test to see if this is what I think it is. But yeah, it's just an interesting fact that they're now running 2 pairs of cryo tubes down to this tank. So
can you zoom in on it a little bit more, or do we have a ground shot of the particular lines here? Because that is very, very odd.
Let's see if I have a ground shot. That would be. It's very, very difficult to get, because I was down there last week and I knew it was happening and I couldn't really see it, but you know, I don't have a camera like Mauricio. So.
Ooh, okay, here's a quick theory. So what if they're trying to cool something down? They don't want warm water, so they insulate the pipe.
I feel like the insulated pipe part doesn't make sense to me either, like unless
Well, they don't want to increase the thermal mass of the ground. They want something that is in that water tank. Or it might be hot water, could be the opposite. That this is hot.
If you were running, let's say you had let's say you were running a cryogenic material underneath the concrete, which they do inside of culverts mostly. If it's underneath the concrete and not inside of a culvert, would it make sense to insulate it so that, you know, it's not sweating on the outside and building up like fluid underneath it, essentially? You know what I mean?
No? The thing that just doesn't make sense is that tank. You could, if you have something that was sitting there that's not that tank, makes perfect sense. But that tank is just a water tank.
Well, I'll at least say what I think they're going to do with this tank. I'm not going to say why, but I have a feeling that they may actually be running cryogenic material here potentially to rapidly boil it off. Inserting it into the bottom of the tank, it goes through the water and vaporizes, and to quickly get rid of it. But I don't know. I'll say one part of it actually.
But to what end do you want to get rid of it?
A replacement of the grass vent, possibly.
Could you say that one more time? I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of what you said.
Well, it's similar to the grass vent, except in this grass vent, or what we call the grass vent, it's into this field, you know, and it like pools up out there. But let's say that this was a retention pond here and not a field, then this would not be sitting here all day every day, because no matter what, this is here. There's always frost here now. So if they had like a pool or something, and they were dumping that into it, it would vaporize more quickly. And it wouldn't just be sitting there like that. So I think there's multiple reasons why they could potentially prime up into a water container versus out here. So I think it may be related to that, but we will know very soon, I think.
Well, the problem with the doing it that way, you get an ice block on one end, and it expands and breaks the entire container.
But Thomas, we have that actually. Don't we have that big cylindrical thing that's in front of, I thought, one of the tank farms? And they pool all the extra fluid into it, or they were for a
Yeah,
while.
it's just a tank that holds it. It's stainless steel as far as the tank. It's a retention, I guess you could say, tank, but it's open air, and it basically does the same thing as this basin over here. It's just a large metal basin on that one. That's at Sanchez. So there's other areas where we have water and cryogenics at play, and some interesting pieces up at the bunker itself, going with the water pipes. That basically the water comes along and you can cool things down. It's a large thermal mass. Or heat things up, sorry. It's the opposite way.
Saw a comment from somebody in the chat. Andy Ashtarak says, pushing the envelope is good as long as you don't push over the OLM. Yeah, the OLM is safe to somewhat right now. I feel like they've got some good shielding on there, but yeah, definitely wouldn't want to see anything happen to that. So, pushing the envelope is good as long as it doesn't damage any of your actual launch structure. So, sorry for that distraction. But yeah, definitely we're going to keep our eyes on this. It's hard to speculate on it just because number one, it's not complete, but I feel like we will have the answer sooner rather than later. But moving on, let's see. I don't think there's anything else new in the tank farm.
So, quick question for y'all. Considering how close they got with the spin prime and whatnot, do you think they're gonna make a static fire next week, or how long do you think it'll be?
I think they wish they did it on Thursday. It'll probably happen early in the week, if not tomorrow, Monday. More than likely.
I'd like to point out that Elon Musk said they were going to launch in August of 2021, and here we are, November 2022, and we still haven't gotten a 33-inch static fire. Just blows my mind. I mean, I understand every step along the way, so I'm not holding a grudge, but man, it's been a minute. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just curious, does anybody know? I was watching Lab Padre and kept zooming in on these two valves.
They were looking for at the top of the valve to see if it turned. So they were trying to understand if there was nitrogen going into the system. But to the left of that, there's a blank off plate, and that's the thing that they need to look at in order to understand if they're ever going to use nitrogen during any of these tests.
Why would a blank off plate define that? What does it do?
Well, the blank off plate, it literally off the nitrogen side from the methane side, and then this is the valve that allows the nitrogen to flow in this way.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach, while you're on this image, on the right-hand side of the motors there, is that where all the methane comes in on that white pipe? Move your mouse up. Up to the right. Where does that pipe go to?
This one?
Yeah, that one right there.
This is for detanking.
Oh, that's the detanking. Yeah, that was the one I saw them working on in earnest. They had that popped open and were running into it.
Yeah, this is man, they got some interesting stuff going on down here for sure. I mean, in my opinion, at the beginning of the test, if you start seeing this thing spool up, they're probably not going to use nitrogen. Don't get me wrong, this is going all day long, every day. But if at the very start of the test, this starts spooling up, it's probably not a nitrogen test. And I don't think they've used nitrogen in the methane tank on the booster in a long time. It's been a while. Almost every test they've done on the booster within the last, like 6 months has been all methane, I think. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's only been several weeks because they've been starting to kick people out like crazy recently.
Well, the full stack test, that's the one questionable one. I don't know if they used nitrogen. I'm pretty sure they used nitrogen in both tanks on that. in that case. But booster test by itself, I don't think they've put nitrogen in this tank in a long time.
And Andy Ashtarak is wondering if the third methane pump is working now.
Yes. Yeah, well, there's no way to. It's hard to know if it's on or not, but I mean, it's frosty on both sides past the valve. Let's see if I can get it better. I want actually the back side. This may be able to see it, maybe not.
I want that too.
Yeah, there we go. Past the valves, these are all frosted, so I'm assuming all of them are running. Yeah, you gotta love these testing views, being able to actually see what is and isn't frosted during these moments. Kind of is a big hint on how the tank farm actually works. So shout out to Mauricio since he's not here for getting these images during those tests. But speaking of other things that need to happen before static fire tests, it looks like they have finished partial part of this wall on the side of the tower.
Oh, yeah.
So we have the concrete wall that got extended off of the side, and there is rebar here so that they can extend it all the way up. It'll be similar to the one on pad 39A.
Over at KSC in Florida.
Yeah, and let's see, there's a better frontal image of this, I think.
What happened to that guy's head? Oh my God.
Mauricio took him out.
Look at that.
I love the
camera.
brand new camera.
Why is it so large and what is it looking at is my question.
I think
Looks
this
like
is a high-speed camera. They're like, cosmic perspective is not going to be the fastest camera in the West. So they had to upgrade
So
that camera.
4K cameras are that large that they need to be housed in a casing like that?
Whatever it is large enough to need. Oh, this is thermal.
Oh, but then what is it pointing at?
The
vent?
booster.
This has to be a thermal. There's very few cameras that need a vent on the back like that.
Well, high-speed camera would also need a vent because
You're right.
they get hot very quickly.
So either thermal or high speed.
Sure.
Anything that gets hot, yeah.
I think
Which
high
is
speed
everything.
thermal would make sense for like spin prime tests and stuff like that. Like if they're trying to particularly detect the presence of methane, like a thermal camera would be the best for that. So I would not be surprised if that's what it is.
Well, a thermal camera you could stick up inside of the skirt area, and that would be an easy way to do it. So I think this would be more of a high-speed camera.
Well, this one you can see the entire. It's
Everything.
basically looking up. Yeah, you can see more because it's so far back. You know what I mean?
But you said it's looking at the booster, Thomas. Where's the booster? Because booster.
So the
would be on
booster's to the
left.
right. So the booster's to the right of this image. So it's looking at the stand itself. That's a good shot.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
looking.
It doesn't look like it's looking there, but okay.
Oh wow! See, it doesn't look like it's looking up into the skirt that much.
No.
It looks like it's observing the surroundings.
Yes.
It's got a wide field of view, so it's going towards the center of legs, so you can see the whole flame from top to bottom.
Wow. Yeah.
Because remember, it's like a cone as it goes out. So you got to get to the center, and then from the center you can go out. But that's the guess of how far out it goes.
Wouldn't it be that the camera would then face the center for it to do that? Because to Zach's point, it looks like it's off center. It almost looks like it's pointing at the vent that comes off the ground. That it looks like, except it's not pointing.
This is where I would love to draw some lines.
Interesting. So, I'm also thinking that this plate will get removed. They'll probably. What is this?
That's where they're attaching into for the concrete, most likely.
Both sides?
So do you think they're removing the plate?
No, they're just tying into it structurally.
That's annoying. I guess that allows
Time
them
for rebar.
it allows them to continue to do testing before this is complete. But truthfully, I thought at least for 33 engine testing, that they will wait until this is done for sure, for sure. I highly doubt that they will do 33 engines before this paneling is put on. Oh man. Sorry, I just noticed something that I didn't see in there before. But speaking about the paneling, if we look at it from the front side, I may need an aerial for this one actually. Yeah. That's not the right view. Let's see here. 1 second. There we go. Oh, that's not from the front either. This one. So they have some paneling on the ground, and I actually need to be able to see the paneling. So let me do that first. Maybe we can see it here. Oh, there's a whole cloud on the launch pad. Still a cloud, but we can almost see through it.
There's some
Maybe
better shots of it that Mauricio showed yesterday. There we go.
Jesus. All right, there's better ones. Let me.
Well, this is good.
Well,
While you do that, I can shout out some peeps if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please do. Yeah, we got.
Okay, we got a lot of donations while we've been talking. So again, very kind of you all. We have Dave is actually mid-flight. Dave Avery would be mid-flight while he was watching, as well as generously donating money. He donated in 3 little events, $19.99, $9.99, and $1.99, and says $32 from 32,000 feet, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Dave. And then we have Drop Bear donating 20 Australian dollars and says $20 from 200 meters above sea level on the ground in his den. I thought that was quite funny. And then we also have donations from Boss Hog, who donated $5 and says President Shotwell will soon be overseeing Starbase directly, according to sources. Yep, we all heard, and we are all anxiously awaiting her arrival. Rocket donated $10, $9.99. Jim Cavett donated $2. Pecan Pie Profit with $10 says he'll match Rocket. Choo choo. And then Jim Cavett with $2 and a thumbs up. Then we have Zhang Zubin with $2. And I think that's it so far. Thank you guys again for all your generosity.
Yeah, appreciate all of you. Every Sunday, this is awesome having you guys with us.
Every Saturday?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Every week.
You can tell I like Sundays
Every
better.
weekend. There we go. Perfect.
I
Well,
definitely
hey,
enjoy the Sundays better. I can tell you
yeah.
that.
Look, and let me just say that the crowdsourcing of the funding for these flights is why we have it. We as a community come together to, get Mauricio up in the air and taking these pictures and buying the camera and all that. That's how you get it. So when you contribute, you get the rewards. So thanks everybody.
Yeah, appreciate all of you. And one thing I wanted to touch on as we're nearing the end of this show, we have this little pile of goodies right here at the launch site. So let's start with the easy ones and then move on. So this one right here, these have now been placed on the leg of the launch mount. So you can see it right here from this angle. They have shaved down the leg right here for that panel to go on, all the way down to the bare steel. And then you can see the first one on the back side right here. They've also painted over the cryo tubes as well. So that's interesting.
They just painted them, and then they painted them again.
Yes. Double paint. This is a bad
paint.
That's a good one.
Real fast, I got to call out Aaron Jones, who just donated $100 and says, "You all are the best. Thank you for your continued hard work and dedication to giving us updates and figuring stuff out." Woo woo! Thank you, Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, you the best.
Wow. That was pretty amazing. Thank you, Aaron Jones.
My jaw just dropped. Thank you, Aaron.
That was the clunking sound we all heard.
So you can see from this angle how it tapers in towards the center. I believe there will be a pretty large plate on the outside of this that closes all that in as well too. But it is wide like this because I believe it gives them the ability to get in there and access stuff. They really truly need to. It would suck, but they're able to get in there if they have to. And also it has to taper out, I believe, so that it once it gets to the top, that it doesn't collide with any of this stuff right here.
Good news, we found it yesterday. So if you go to the ground photos, we have the plate and how it's going to be built. You have to go to the landing pad area where you're seeing the pieces that basically sticking horizontally. That is basically what we were looking at as a system to do this. So
these images, am I missing?
It will be in the ground images.
Landing pad, or you mean the landing pad, or from the
it'll be the landing pad from the ground is where you can see it. He's looking from the entrance, so it might be one of the beginning photos.
I don't have any of the launch site from the entrance.
Fastest way to check is to highlight them all and see if you have 189. Sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
Might be at the end then. I've got it probably sorted.
Some of them. Hold on, give me 2 seconds, and I'll double check if I'm missing some or not.
But yeah, so I'll describe the mechanism itself. What we'll see here when we could get the photo here, there is a series of what are those called? I'm thinking of it's the same part of a door.
A hinge?
Hinges. Yeah, sorry. Couldn't remember the word hinge. But yeah, there's a series of hinges that are on one side, and then it looks like it's going to be bolted on the other side. So it works with what I was hoping for, is that they would bolt the doors on, and the hinge will allow them to just rotate it out of place instead of being able to needing to lift it. So now they can actually access all of the plumbing and pipe work underneath, and it's got a lot of stringers running across horizontally, just like the inside of the rest of those leg panels have. So structurally, it holds together really well.
I think I'm missing about 50 images, which makes sense. I'm trying to figure out where they are. So you may have to.
Do you want him to put in the image in the chat so you don't have to look for it?
Yeah, if you have that in the chat, that would help.
Thomas, would you mind?
I'll have to find it real quick.
I am lost. Let me see.
I know what I'm looking for, so
yeah, that's the only reason I ask, is because you do know what you're looking for.
Well, while you're grabbing that, let me pop back over here. So we have this box. Oops, that's the wrong one. This box that's sitting here on the ground, right here. So this box, should more than likely be used right here. So there's a ton of pipes that come up, mechanical pipes that come up inside of the tower right here, and all the rest of the panels can be flat, but these ones cannot. They have to stick out, so that's what that box is for.
I've got your images. There's at least 5 of them here for you.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, you want to get I think it's the second or third image in. Third image is where you really can see it. But yeah, if you zoom in, it's just incredible.
What are these?
Okay, so those are the panels that you're talking about that are going on the integration tower for these ones.
Oh, wow.
And so they have a bit of a slope on some of them, which is kind of interesting.
Jesus. So these are the edge pieces right here. This is an edge piece that goes, it tapers in to meet the concrete column, because if it went straight out, then it would possibly collide with the skates, I think. Hold on, let's see here. And this is the mounting bolt. We need some.
But the next image is what I'm talking about, that has the piece with a cone in it. So you have to find the one with a cone.
This one.
Yeah, and you'll want to zoom in on it.
My, that's small.
Give me 1 second. I just figured something out here in the background.
So there was a question from Jim Cavett. He's asking, will they find some way to not have to keep painting, like the OLM and the stands and stuff? Do we know?
We don't know, but there's maybe a hint with those legs we saw that they painted over it and then they painted over it again. So it's indicating that they have a painting system that's like, this is the base layer that it should always stick to. You don't need to go through and sand it as much, but the top layer will come off. So they will have to repaint. That's
So
a
there's
guess.
no way around it. They're going to have to repaint.
Either
Always.
every time or until they can find the perfect solution to their problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so go ahead and zoom in on this image here. You can see those are the hinges that I was talking about. So they'll weld this bottom piece in that's going to hinge right into the side of the plate. And then there's the backing that will hold it together. And you've got bolts on the other side. Those bolts are what basically holds it in place. So you can unbolt it and then access the insides to replace piping or inspect it. Yeah.
Oh my God. They're massive doors.
Yeah. Massive long doors, but they're also sloped. So you have to use a crane or something to pull open the doors. And then once the doors are open and out of the way, you can access the pipes without the crane. So you only need one crane for the job, not two.
And what are the doors for?
The doors are to access the pipes on the legs.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it just sticks. Yeah, that's that's not the perfect
That makes
one.
way more sense.
It'll basically.
Here we go. Perfect. Right.
Yeah, it'll when the other plate. It won't be on. It'll be mounted to the other one.
Yeah. So the hinge will probably be on the left side, and then the other side will be the bolts.
So is it just to encase, or is it to encase and get to if they need to?
Bolt. Yeah, exactly. It's to get to it and encase it, protect it. And it has the ability to, take a blast. You can see that on the picture of the ground shot. It had the same type of system of internal structure. So you see these cross members that go to the perimeter. It's the same thing with this. So these are just a little bit different. So they're L joints instead of, box or U joints, or I'm sorry, tubing.
Wow. Cannot wait to see all of this installed. That's going to take a while. I feel like for that door, but they should be able to do static fires, maybe without that.
Now check out that background piece.
This,
yeah, that was a weird one. In the air too.
That one. I don't like doing this live because I'm like sitting here trying to imagine. Let's see, that would be.
It moved around, is from what I can understand. I think that bottom piece of that group right there.
This?
I think that's the one. If you have to zoom in a little bit more.
Hold on, let's.
They shifted and moved things around, so perspectives are going to really be terrible here.
There's some shifty people out there.
Nope. Actually, it's neither of those. Somebody was talking about it that way, and I looked at it. I was like, "Oh, that's the one." Okay, and then now I'm looking at it again. It's like, nope, that doesn't make sense. It must be somewhere else around here. Before they moved it, or it just came in on the truck with a couple other things.
It wouldn't be the fact that the panel has that half moon shape, the one that you pointed out the other day there, Thomas, which is lower where he was originally.
I don't know where we're going, but maybe.
I was looking at just this over here. This is concrete forms for the wall for the tower.
They took it down. They were expecting a static fire, and that would have been no go on that.
Right. Like, can we finish this? No.
Rocket Man wants to know if we've seen any signs of shielding yet for the chopsticks or the SQD.
No.
I don't think that's ever going to be a thing, because you're adding more weight when you do the shielding, and you already have protected the significant portion of the chopsticks. If you do need additional shielding, it's for any conduit or wiring that's there. You just need to shield that. You don't need to shield all of it. And if you shield all of it, if you have any like equivalent of a jet blast, but this case rocket exhaust hitting it, you're now transferring the mass of the vehicle very dynamically to the chopsticks in a way you don't want to. So the shielding has been something they've put on a bunch of illustrations. It's just a really quick artist rendition. Instead of going through a bunch of lines that match up to the original, that then you turn them into tubes and make some structure that look like the chopstick, they just do really 2 triangles and 3 surfaces. That's it.
Where's the door? None of these are the door.
No, it's not the
That's the one
door.
I'm
That's not the
asking.
door. That's
Yeah,
the
it's
side
not even
panel
here.
moved.
It's not here,
Yeah, it's not here because it came in later.
which means it's at the ground fabrication building.
Maybe. Check on the back of a flatbed. Maybe it's sitting on one.
So in one workday, it went from wherever it was to the place that Mauricio took ground photos of? 'Cause
Yes,
it wasn't
we
there the
have
day
progress.
before.
We have progress just sitting there staring at us right in the face. Maybe it's below us on that little truck right there. Nope. Oh, wait,
Ooh.
there is that piece. That's the curved one that we were looking for. Yes.
What the heck is that?
So that's the one we saw on the ground. That's the weird piece.
It's tapered. That's cool. This almost looks like
Could be for the legs to,
Yeah,
or not
like
the legs,
you
but
go
like
around
going
the
from
leg.
the leg to the pipe on the launch table itself.
Yep. Yeah. So there's one. That's what I'm saying. This steel came from that pile. That's why I got to keep an eye on that pile to see where it's going.
You just want to see that pile shrink. That's what your goal is, right?
I do. Yes, I do want to see the pile shrink, and I don't see any more stuff out here on the trailer. And sorry, I'm moving everything so fast, everyone. But
It should have been on the same flatbed. I would suggest that's the only way to look at it. So if we can look from the other side, we might see it because the tent might be in the way. Nope, it's not there. It should be a really long piece, but it's not anywhere in there.
That's major. I'm really interested to see what that goes on. It's really thick too. So yeah, I guess it's not out here.
But I love this confusion. Like we have something here on one day and it's not there the next. That is progress, 100%.
See if Ryan can figure this one out. We'll see if we can figure it out before it gets mounted on there. We don't have much time, but
we'll go to a picture of the table, and if it's that perspective, right, that we have it right there, that might be a good way to look at it. It goes horizontally like that, and it goes up against a leg, like right there.
like,
Is it just me, or is the paint job coming along fantastically too?
Yeah, to cover up the area, and then maybe it touches the leg itself. So it would actually be on the bottom side of this one, I think.
So down here.
Yeah, there's a chance that could be where it's going. Like there's all sorts of plates going everywhere, and it's going to be an interesting hodgepodge here.
Wow. Well, I'm excited to see it, and we will be on the lookout for it. Man, yeah, this is coming along really awesomely. We definitely have a lot more shielding to go on the launch mount, so we're not done yet. But I'm sure by the time next week comes around, we will have some more updates for y'all on that. But at this moment, I think we should maybe go through any last remaining questions or any donations if we missed them.
We got all the donations. I'm sorry. Go on.
Go ahead.
No, my bad. I got excited. You said donations and I got excited. Forgive me. No, we got all the donations, but we do have some questions.
Yeah, let's hit them.
All right. There was a question about from Just Omimo. He's asking, isn't it more dangerous to enclose things, legs, than just shielding them from direct energy? And that goes back to what Thomas was talking about just now, not too long ago.
It really depends if they're going to be exposed to heat or if gas can get trapped in them. So up top, gas can get trapped in the top of the OLM, but down by the legs, not so much. So I'd say no.
And methane does tend to rise. So if you vent out the top and purge it from the bottom, that would be a quick, simple solution to that problem.
Fair enough. At asks, how far is Massey's from Starbase?
We've been asked a few times, but I think it's 6.5 miles.
Wow, very specific. I was going to say 7 miles. So yeah, as far as I know, you're right. Let's see what else. There's a question from Carl, but he's referring to a specific photo that we haven't shown yet. So maybe we can hit him up a little bit later and answer that question. Sorry?
Is it one that we have?
It's specifically 9434. It's an
Oh, wow.
aerial photo. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because he had some questions. Yeah.
What is the question? And then I'll probably be able to find the picture.
He says he's a bit curious about the top left center part of the image and if an eremite is going to live there. So
if he had any description of what we were looking at, I would probably be able to find it. But
yeah, it's housing.
You have to go to an aerial shot. You're looking at ground shots right now.
Yeah.
There's
I know.
well.
I was just thinking of like what he could be talking about as I'm scrolling through these. And
I don't know what an eremite is.
I'll show you what he's talking about. It's a religious hermit, a Christian hermit. Just so you know. Sorry.
All right.
Moving on. More questions? Are we good?
Yeah, I think if we're good right there,
Okay.
we may end the show. But yeah, I want to thank everyone again for joining us. And shout out to Mauricio, even though he couldn't be here with us today. Thank you for going out there and taking all these amazing photos. This one's a really nice one to end on. Yeah, thank you, Mauricio, for all the hard work. And hopefully you were out there enjoying your day instead of listening to us. And again, thanks to everybody who donated today, everybody who hit that like button for us. We appreciate that. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, with that, I will see you all next week. And I'll pass it off to Thomas.
Thank you for having me again this week. I enjoyed talking with everybody and listening on what's going on here. So thank you so much. Grandpa Joe, not you, but Jax first.
Yeah, I came in a bit late. Sorry about that. But yeah, that went well. I enjoyed the show. So yeah.
Go on, I'll jump in. I also want to say thanks for everybody joining us this week. Even without Mauricio, it was still a really good show, and you guys are the ones that make it the best. So be sure to like if you haven't, share if you haven't. The more people we get interested in SpaceX, the better we are for space in general. And now, GPJ.
First, I wanted to say, is anybody looking at this picture and hearing Creed's hit with arms wide open? Just asking for a friend. And with that, main engine cut off, stage separation confirmed. Love you, bye.